A lot of this time is gone. Crazy Raccoon just being sick. Spawn. Crazy Raccoon are denying so much space, just the Mines have to try and counter-rotate, come up with a plan B. But here comes Jumbin with Mines yet again in the choke.
He's so low though. He has to pop the Annihilation, but Jumbin's forcing him not to sit in that corner. Has got the Mines, but they're happy maybe just to let that Annihilation disappear. A kill onto Funny Astro, and with 2 minutes remaining, Twisted Minds struggling to get out of this choke point.
Jorong is still behind them, by the way, and Crazy Raccoon may have bit off more than they could chew. And Twisted Minds, they grouped up, they retaliated, but at a cost of a lot of time, less than 2 minutes. Still a few more fights to go for B. I knew now could be available on the high ground for Quartz, all depending if Jumbin's even going to let him rest and let him breathe. It's not even just about the pile drives, but the ability to push even a single person off the bridge would force all Twisted Minds to have to regroup. Crazy Raccoon, it's about forcing mistakes.
They're on low ground right now. They do have a teleport, but I don't think it's a good one. Maybe only went up to that miniature high ground. Bowler shot in the corner, but no. Quartz out of nowhere, pops around the corner, tags Lip in the animation, headshot, insta-kill, and now they can move on. Chew on the height, takes a headshot from Quartz, use that shift to heal him up, and now they're trying to buy time. Hope and pray.
Quartz wasn't having an MVP level performance. This would be it.
Yeah, just Bora straight in front of him. Chorong rally off of high ground and Lib's on the Widow of all things, but he's too far up. Yubi's just gonna run him down. But Lib, he just keeps on clicking heads. That orbital rate should be too much for him though. And there it is. Checkpoint secured by Twisted Minds as they make their final assault onto that golden box of victory with 2 minutes.
Quartz is just the best in the world. How does he keep willing these wins in their favor? Crazy Raccoon will have to hold back. Box of victory, the ticket to the semifinal. Top 4 in sights of Twisted Minds to dethrone the best Koreans in the world.
They got a wall, they got a rush, they got Annihilation, they got the tools to do it. Nice right click there on Heesang, forces the retreat. Jumbin dead though. ASA moving on. And now it's up to Heesang to maybe stall or get back to the rest of his team.
He does, but KSA could pop Annihilation. Look how weak they are. Twisted Minds don't want to bite off more. The box of victory's in sight. They have Kitsune Rush. Crazy Raccoon at the touch.
They got no ults. This bolus from Lip has to go ginormous. They're going to heal up. They're going to deploy the wall, deploy the rush, deploy pretty much everything they've got. They've even got a high noon. Coming up for Quartz. A retreat here for Crazy Raccoon as Jumbin ends up going down and Twisted Minds are rewriting history. Crazy Raccoon have been failed, thrown into the trash as Twisted Minds in front of their home crowd have done it. It has been an eon since an EU team has toppled a Korean one. And against all odds, they go to a map 5 on a Crazy Raccoon pick.
Beats coming up here for Kellex and Fixer in this fight. Those are the key ultimates to look out for. Outside of that, it's good old-fashioned, honest Overwatch. Checkmate has the Mega. Jaewoo can't take it, but he has a healer by his side. Ziad getting close to a remake opportunity, and Kellex is low, but knows been able to find him. He has a beat. He's built it before Fixer. Ice Storm goes low. Forced to drop to the low ground now. Spike Guard deployed briefly, but Shockwave is fell first. Lambda strikes at the heart of Virtus Pro. And now, it's all his for the taking. Gala and Ice Storm topple. And OWCS get their second flashpoint.
One flashpoint away from setting themselves up in the semis. A chance to go to a final here in Riyadh. Battle against Twisted Minds. That would be pretty wild up there in that crowd. Opening things up for OWCS. Ziad will have this self-destruct. We see him play really aggressive when he has this, right? He knows he's going to most likely get a second life. So we'll see how deep he decides to go. Trying to make a play for Fixer or Shockwave. Those have been his targets.
He knows, though, he needs to be able to remech in a relatively safe spot. So he'll have to start doubling back as soon as he realizes he's going to be knocked out. Big ultimate here. Sound barrier comes in. Fixer's able to deploy it. Labda backs up. This is an unanswered beat. OWCS are going to have to wait it out, but there's that self-destruct from Ziad. Back in mech should be fine, and Fixer's down to the pulse. Jaywoo's got nothing to do. Caught on the outside looking in, goes for a recall, but it's going to be a swift step away by Landon, and OWCS start with point control. Poised to take the series.
Yeah, and the sound barrier comes through from VP, and OWCS back up, but Ziad is so far forward, and he's able to just kind of contest the point, use his self-destruct to not allow VP to take the point. It's also the overclock that rips a lot of that overshield, the overhealth away from players on VP.
Shockwave with an overclock. This is pretty preemptive. A lot of OWCS now just scrabbling to get back. Keeping Ziad in mech is paramount, and he's going to be knocked out. Virtus Pro see an opportunity now just to knock it into Body Blaster form, and Ziad has nothing to say. The rest of OWCS here realize they're in a power trough as it is. Forcing ultimates would be better. We'll have to just accept turning around to fight another day.
And look, the supports on OWCS are amazing, but when Ziad is that low, there's an overclock, everybody flying around the corner. No amount of Kiri pocket is going to be able to keep Ziad up through that. So a rare instance, it seems like OWCS gets caught off guard there.
Ziad's again in the mix and ready to go once more. Pressuring the backline. Jaywoo traded for Kellex here. No Tracer up for Virtus Pro. Icenum a little bit low. He's going to need some help, but Gala's going to struggle through to Kitsune rush down, but he goes low. It's Gala out of the picture. OWCS are back, and they mean business. And it just so happens that business today is pretty good. They'll have to flip. Now with the goal in their sights.
It's wild when we're watching Ziad at the beginning of these fights, right? It looks like he just literally flies at them, and then just like, all right, let's just start fighting. And able to just kind of use that flight to get back towards his teammates. It's great use of the defense matrix here. You lose Shockwave towards the end. And dude, I mean, you have a huge support advantage here for OWCS and a fantastic spot to close out this series.
95 and counting. It is last chance saloon for Virtus.
Oh, he got him on the cross.
The Great White North descends on the desert sands and is repelled by the fiery spirit of OWCS, advancing to the semi-finals.
You're looking at a disengage here from T1, I'd imagine. No, they're actually going to be in. Cage comes in. Uh-oh, not where the Lucio wants to be, but I don't think Vega wants to be there either. Oh, but Tree, what? Tree out of nowhere. Deadeye through the cage, picks up a triple. And they're going to feel that tomorrow and the next day at T1. A push onto the checkpoint now as Proud gets staggered.
Cage and a tree, he digs his roots in, and Team Liquid still have a chance at life to swing for the fences and go for the comeback, but it has to be flawless from here on out.
Just beautiful. Actually booped in by Donghak there. There's 2 minutes to go now as they approach this checkpoint. Tree's going to get slammed again. Takes a small duck there to try and avoid some of that damage. Donghak pretty low, has to back off, although he's been pretty unkillable right now. He's actually going to try and steal the bot.
Yeah, Team Liquid though.
What a weird fight, what a weird fight, Zest! Everybody was just so split. Zest connects the pulse onto Tree, he takes a little tumble backwards, kills RuPaul. Donghak's still alive, by the way. He's chilling. He's actually just going to go hunting for Zera right now. It's like Donghak's playing with all the survivability perks in Stadium or something. The guy's just not died. Team Liquid now have to try and reset the ball back to mid, but they got 1 minute and 20. Their hopes and dreams and their key is on the line.
It just took a miracle for Tree to even help win that fight with the 3K. They needed to keep momentum on the bridge phase, but trying to escape from the Hammond. This is a must-win for Liquid. T1 could snuff the life out of them. As Donghak already slams in, gets Tree uncomfortable. Sarah has to find a health pack. He's up to full. He'll
nice
search
boot.
for a pulse bomb.
Insane boot there by Vega. Stopping the momentum of Donghak as he was trying to roll through the rest of Team Liquid. Zera forced a recall, has got the Lucio for backup. They're going to push forward now.
All right, Zera keeps the Tracer in check. Tree's gonna go hunt him down. This could be how you stagger out T1. Liquid have also built up towards a Kitsune rush. They gotta be aggressive, and all of the focus has gone into Donghak. He's starting to look vulnerable, and Liquid want to take advantage.
Nice touch there, just off the checkpoint, but it comes through anyway. A rush being sent out by RuPaul, a little pulse bomb there onto the wall. Vega dodges, fancy footwork on the Lucio as this checkpoint will end up completing for Team Liquid. They get the bot moving once again, but this is the OT fight approaching.
There are the mines just to secure the card for Donghag, but wait, the high noon.
Divertir is high noonie, but Proud just jiggles the corner. Jiggle Beacon Tree. 3 seconds to go. Infected's on the point, but the mines are just too much. As T1 just eviscerate Team Liquid. A 3-0 and the win streak will continue for the squad. T1 make it to semi-finals. Haven't lost a single map yet. Team Liquid's key is crushed at the hands of T1, and only one more hope here for North America in GK. This Team Liquid, it's just like another day in the office. It didn't feel close.
Now he'll step forward again. This is good. GK gets some damage, put some pressure down, fall back to a safer spot. Rinse and repeat. Fielder being challenged there. Can't actually safely assume the higher ground because Lethal will have a line of sight on him. Constant pressure on this backline. Fielder has to immortality field himself. That's a good result. And the emo is dealt with. Geo now under pressure. Lethal only now realizing the problems. Pulled up in his front porch. And Merit from the off angle. There's too many variables for Lethal to try and control, and Falcons eventually break through. It's a small trickle that turns into a flood. And now they wash over the defenders for this first checkpoint.
Yeah, the drone just a little bit too late to save Lethal. He actually slides back across after some damage from Proper, and Merit just picks him up. So an opportunity here. I think if GK wants to hold on defense, I think you got to play aggressive. You got to play like at this choke. You see Kappa walking up towards it. I don't think you can give up too much court progress here early on.
Kappa has to be careful though. If he plays too heavily into the choke, it forces Ultraviolet to expose himself in order to heal him. Puts him perched up in that siege tank, which is dangerous against a player like Merit. So they opt actually just to play the corner game here. Kappa tries to get himself a brief 1 versus 1. Slide back down, it's going to be an Ant Matrix in play. Oh, scary stuff! The downfall caught on a fielder. Oh, he wasn't safe behind a wall. He doesn't care about line of sight like that. That's a great pick. That is going to slow. Oh, buddy!
This is what you want to do. You want to get another, minute, 2 minutes off the clock here, right? You get another fight at like the first bridge, get control of high ground, and then if that all fails, then you get probably one junk one out the spawn. I love this decision to go fast if you're Kappa.
I love this game plan. Again, it's the same. Be proactive. Fall back when it gets risky. There's an annihilation from someone. He's trying to ignore Kappa and go forward, but there's a sound barrier in play here for GK. Lethal with the high ground. Someone looking a little bit low. He's in trouble. Maimone's able to pull him down, and our eyes are on Chio. Lethal slides away. Proper is able to chase him down. No, and Falcons using the aggression of GK against them. And Kappa cannot contest in this state. He'll have to succumb.
I mean, look, they get rid of someone. The issue is there is nobody to get rid of Proper and Merit. So even though they get the sound barrier out first from Falcons, GK holds on to theirs. They get a later one. The DPS duo of Proper and Merit showing their potential.
And that rope is getting shorter and shorter for GK. The buffer all but expired. They've done their best to slow Team's Falcons down, but now they get a taste for blood, this Korean squad. And they know exactly how to land this plane.
Now.
Card inches forward a little bit further. It's an overclock here for Merit. Kappa responds instantly, though Merit's getting topped up, and Kappa takes too much damage. He's got to fall away. Maimone contesting the card to try and make sure no one sneaks it through, and Merit is playing conservatively, safely in fact. But there's the Ant Matrix, and immediately Kappa ceases to exist. Maimone's at least able to extract his pound of flesh. A trade comes out, but Admiral is the next to fall. And the Apex Predators keep their sights squarely on the summit. Downing GK in a knockdown, drag-out, 5-map affair. Pushed to their limits, but that's where this team thrives. They've made our Midseason Championship semi-finals.
Yo, what are you doing back here?
Nothing, man. Just making sure it's all good for the next
It
team.
looks like you're doing hero shots.
No.
Is he doing hero shots?
Yeah. Come on, bro. This is like our last day. Last chance to get this done. And the players get it done all the time. Why can't we have some fun too? It's good for a bit of fun.
You know, that's true. The final day of EWC Overwatch 2 starts now.
It's Championship Sunday here at EWC, and we are starting things off with the Overwatch semifinals, where we have hometown Saudi Arabia Twisted Minds going up against OWCS in a clash that guarantees at least one hometown hero in the finals. Twisted Minds have crawled their way into this slot, beating along their path the biggest name in Overwatch esports, the champions, the title defenders, the alleged super teams, Crazy Raccoon, in a match that had every single Overwatch fan gripping at the edge of their seat. OWCS' feat is not a small one either. Although a team that might not have the most international experience, they have already influenced the world's meta. And as the EMEA champions, they are once again looking to make the world bend the knee.
The second semi-final features T1 and Team Falcons, giants on the international club stage. But the journey of both of these teams to semis today could not be more different. T1 stands undefeated. This huge heavyweight has humbled all who stand in their path, and today it's the hometown heroes, Team Falcons, who've had to kick, claw, scrape, and bleed their way through 5-game series to make it here. As the massive underdogs, the pressure is on, and Falcons, you actually need to win a game to be eligible for the club championship. The Overwatch Championship Series Midseason Championship starts right now.
What's up, esports fans? It's Jake. I'm here with Johnny, and we're standing, of course, at the Esports World Cup Totem for 2025. We're going to have to crown a new champion whose frame will be placed here for Overwatch 2.
Yeah, last year's games was, of course, brilliant with Crazy Raccoons winning in 2024. But yesterday's quarterfinals, they also brought some excitement, Jake, with all the #1 seeds advancing. Besides last year's winner, Crazy Raccoon, Twisted Minds, in a surprise upset, they delivered the final blows required here by Quartz, of course, on the Cassidy. Just phenomenal plays all around them. They were part, of course, of our Kadea top plays, Jake.
Yeah, the Kadea top plays were wild yesterday. Tons of great stuff. I mean, a lot of our games, though, were pretty dominant, with some of our winners coming out to 3-0 victories, some one-sided games due to these massive hit scan performances. I feel like the hit scan has been on a whole new level this year as compared to anything I've seen in the past.
Absolutely, and two of those players that have stood out, of course, has been Quartz, like I mentioned, but also Labda from OWCS has had a phenomenal performance so far. Now, in our final quarterfinal, of course, Falcons, they did end up beating in a 5-map series. They took down GK Esports, another phenomenal series here. Kaffa early on, really confident, and it went all the way to Blizzard World, where Falcons finally closed things out.
Yeah, it's a wild one out there. I also want to call out T1, you know, a squad that maybe hadn't found so much success in Korean Overwatch. It had been Falcon and Crazy Raccoon for quite a while, and now T1, right now, they're undefeated in the tournament. A completely dominant run, kind of unheard of at this point, though they do face their toughest test in that next semi against the Falcons, right? A storied franchise, especially here at the Esports World Cup.
Absolutely. 4 teams remain. It's going to be OWCS, Twisted Minds going head-to-head in today's semifinal, and in our second semifinal, of course, it's going to be Falcons taking on T1. So 4 teams remain here, Jake. Do you got any early favorites?
We'll have to see, but I mean, here at our Bravia reactions here, I mean, you can see the emotion. I love the players, but not only that, the crowd here has been electric. It has been out of control, especially with so many Saudi players and teams here representing. The fans are out there, man, and if you are not a Saudi team or player, you are gonna get booed, man. There is intensity in this arena. There is a real home field advantage, and it's exciting out there in the SCC arena.
Absolutely, and I mean, because the two teams are playing each other in a semi-final, there's a third place match. One of those teams will obviously end up in the grand final, and one of them will end up in the third place match. So regardless of the outcome of that one semi-final, you will have a Saudi team in either a bronze match or a gold match. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible one. But of course, it's all about the championship, right? That's what's going to be remembered. That's who's going to be able to put their keyframe up in the totem. Well, in the overall club championship, Team Liquid has surged to a lead with a first ever 2 game titles in 1 week from one club. Totally unheard of, making history here at the Esports World Cup. However, Team Falcons, if they can win the championship in Overwatch, which seems possible for them with a storied franchise and the team that they fielded this year, they could surge back to that first place. And you got to imagine, Liquid, Falcons, these are kind of the 2 favorites for the club championship. So much is on the line here in the Overwatch tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Team Liquid with the lead. But like you say, Falcons, if they qualify for the grand finals here today, they will surpass Liquid's points in the club championship. But of course, Falcons, they're yet to win an esports. And if you want to be eligible for the Esports World Cup Club Championship, you need to win at least 1 title. So a lot hinging today on Falcons' Overwatch squad. Can they secure that crucial win for their organization in today's matches?
I just got to say, by the way, it's pretty awesome to see chess here at the Esports World Cup. I've kind of always seen chess as this like one natural, maybe the progenitor really to esports. Like what other game is played in that same way with that incredible global competition and you know, fans cheering from around the world. So it was amazing to see Magnus Carlsen take that club championship, or rather take the title and earn some points for the club championship for Team Liquid. Amazing to see chess represented here at the Esports World Cup, and of course here in the totem with Magnus Carlsen's name engraved. Pretty wild stuff here at the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, and I mean, you just take a look once more at the totem. We've already had some tremendous esports taking place with StarCraft 2, of course, a crowned winner there. But there's still plenty of action remaining in the Esports World Cup. This is just week 4 out of 7, of course. And as you take a list, some of the games to come, obviously, what Overwatch 2 yet to be crowned. But then Street Fighter, Counter-Strike, Rocket League, a lot of great esports remaining here at the Esports World Cup. But today, it's all about Overwatch 2 and who can find that title.
I got to press you on it, Johnny. 4 teams left in Overwatch. Who's taking the title?
I think Falcons are still a really good favorite in this one. They struggled yesterday against GK, but I still think that against teams like T1 and who it's going to be in the finals, whether it's Twisted Minds or OWCS, I think they have a good chance.
All right, well, my money's on OWCS. I think they're great. Another team competing, though, here at the Esports World Cup and still alive, by the way, are Twisted Minds, who not only competing in many games across the cup, but they're here on the Boulevard. They've got a whole event going on down at the Twisted Minds building. Let's send it over to Jiniro and check it out.
Hi everyone, Ginny here, and right behind me is going to be the Twisted Labs, home to Twisted Minds, a team that is currently competing in quite a lot of titles here at the Esports World Cup. And their HQ is just a stone throw away from the STC arena, where the action is happening. But just because the action is happening in the arena doesn't mean that everywhere else around it doesn't have it just as exciting. So let's head inside, not break our neck, and see what's going on. First things first is the fact that Twisted Minds is an organization that has quite a lot of trophies to their name, and they do show those off quite interestingly at the start as you walk in. And just looking here to my left, from different titles, PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty, Overwatch, the Saudi League, you name it, they got it. To my right are going to be a couple of the jerseys that we have seen from the side of Twisted Minds as well when it comes to their different iterations over the years and the different teams competing across different titles. But now let's head into the main event, because this is where all the excitement and action is happening. Just explain to everybody who's watching why you guys are so excited.
We are so excited because we beat the best team in Overwatch in the last season. Crazy Raccoon, goodbye. See you in the next year. What do you say about Crazy? See you next time. See you next time. We see it in Arabic. This way. Everyone 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 this way. Good game, guys. Good game, guys. Thank you so much. And the secret behind the win, as you see, guys, here, Guys, Twisted! Twisted! This is our secret to win. Literally. Thank you, guys.
We have Michal here, who is the head of marketing for Twisted Minds, to give us an insight as to why you should be coming to Twisted Labs when you see this video.
I think because it's the only esports HQ or venue in the world that looks like this. It has a dual access system, which means that there's a second floor that's only accessible for players and staff and operations in our studios. At the same time, you can view from the mezzanine the entire ground floor, which hosts the fans, the visitors' experiences, and there are more than 9 experiences here at the venue. You can come, get your day pass, enjoy an escape room, enjoy sim racing, and enjoy some mind games. Enjoy some neuro racing, stuff that you can control a car with your own mind, stuff that you will only find in Twisted Labs. And most importantly, it's 2 minutes away from any esports World Cup venue. You can come, you'll find the big mascot, Fikri, outside. Come, you're welcome here, 5 to 12 a.m., and we're always open. We're welcoming everyone.
I had no idea your crew was going that hard here in Riyadh. We welcome Fancy to the studio. You always see him on the stage doing the interviews and walking out our teams, but we wanted to bring you in to talk about something special. You are a co-owner of Twisted Minds. You have been a managing director for a while, and your team is on here, Championship Sunday. Fancy, how are we feeling?
Honestly, I'm so proud of the team. We didn't expect that the guys would actually be able to make it to the semifinals. I mean, when we saw the bracket, let's be honest,
it's Crazy Raccoon.
We're against Crazy Raccoons. We didn't think that we're going to win, but the guys pulled it, and if they can beat Crazy Raccoon, they can beat everyone.
It's been so impressive to watch them throughout this tournament, but I remember Twisted Minds from Warzone last year. I was hanging out with Z Smith, Aiden, and crew. They were repping the teal jerseys. Tell me a little bit about the branding here. How did you guys choose the colors, and what's with the pink brains I see out there?
I mean, you would notice that most of the teams would have the same colors, like black or red. We wanted to stand out. We wanted our jersey to be different. The guys came up with the combination, and we loved it. We immediately said that this is what Twisted Minds should be about.
Love the OWCS team skins pack, of course.
Right,
Those
yeah.
are awesome. But I wanted to talk about Twisted Minds as well as an organization, because you've been at this for a while now. Talk about the journey from starting Twisted Minds until 2025 now, with, you know, fans going crazy here in the crowd.
I mean, in 2021, the idea of Twisted Minds was just, you know, a bunch of guys that wanted to jump into PUBG Mobile as a, you know, as an up-and-coming team. And then later on, we decided to include more rosters because we saw all the opportunities that's happening, especially in Saudi, and all the growth that's happening in the industry on the globe as well. And then from there on out, we wanted to expand, and then Gamers 8 happened in 2023. And we didn't really think that we're going to win, but eventually we won the whole thing, which is the first version of EWC.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and then in 2024, honestly, that was like a very disappointing, I would say. If you remember, Warzone did great, but the other games didn't really do that well. This year, we're all focused on just our redemption arc. We're trying to prove ourselves.
Now, as upset as you were, you walked away with $200,000 for your placement in the club's championship, but $7 million is on the line in 2025.
Absolutely.
You guys have 1,000 points. We're only halfway through the competition. How are you feeling about your chances of finishing in our top 4?
I mean, honestly, all the teams that we have are participating in the second part of AWC. We still have Tekken, PUBG PC, we have the world champions, of course, Rocket League, we have the best player in the world. We still have a lot of good chances in the upcoming weeks, I think.
Absolutely.
It's looking really good.
Yeah, so you guys have expanded to quite a lot of games, and I'm sure that comes with the organization growing as well. What has that been like for you to kind of try to expand this business and to kind of develop into the scene alongside the Esports World Cup?
Absolutely. So the main thing that we focus on is the local development for the players. We try to include Saudi players as much as we can because we believe that there's a lot of talents here that never really got the chance to, you know, show on an international stage and show people what they can do. And right now, especially with Overwatch, we have 3 Saudi players within the team, and I don't think there is a Saudi player that won an EWC title yet. So this could be the first one.
I'm cheering on Courts. He was our MVP from yesterday.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about the drama, because I remember in the offseason there was a twit longer that got 2 million views.
Right.
Where KSA said, I don't like being around Yubi.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw what KSA said in the interview on the stage. He's like, you don't need the coach when you have Yubi. So the guys had some sort of an argument, let's say, and then it kind of spiraled out of control, let's say. But a couple of months later, the guys are practicing together. They made up, they just buried the hatchet, and Look at them now. They're in the semifinals.
PSA, you don't need a coach when you have Yubi. It looks like the beef has been squashed. Fancy, thank you so much for joining us. We got to start the show, though. KSA is going to be running tank, but how good is he on Winston?
집중해, 집중해. Okay, not easy. Jumpin, how'd you beat this level? It's not looking good for me.
Hi everybody, I'm Danny.
Hi, I'm Kuffa.
Hello everyone, I'm Gaga.
안녕하세요. 크레이지 라쿤의 탱커를 맡고 있는 준민이라고 합니다.
Hello, I'm 동아. My name is Summer. Nice to meet you.
And we're here to play some Winston leaping parkour. 자, 이게 들어가면은 이렇게 초록색 이렇게 빔으로 나와. 저기까지 점프를 하면 돼요. Here we go. First checkpoint. It's right in front of you. It looks pretty easy. Don't mess this up.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, this is okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're going fast. 이거는 빨간 그저 먹고 점프하면 된다.
Okay.
먹고 점프. 그렇지. Easy. 이제 슬슬 어려워집니다. 이제 슬슬 어려워집니다.
6차.
Okay. 오, 쉽네. I'm trying my best to throw you off, but apparently it's not working. It did work. Nice.
It worked. It did it.
이 윈스턴 점프를 잘하는 뭐 노하우 같은 게 있나요?
방향키를 잘 조절해야 돼요.
네, 여기서 무너지면 안 돼. 자, 할 수 있어. 오케이. 자, 말 안 할게요. 자, 오케이. 됐다. Oh, inside. Oh, this one very hard. 시간이 모자란. 안 모자라네.
여기서 한번 뛰고.
집중해.
Okay, not easy.
easy. 자, 이 다음 게 좀 어려웠던 거 기억해요. 저는.
이거?
네. 바로 옆에 코너. 시간이 굉장히 짧아요. 오, 한 번에 됐네?
I have to get on the last try.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you believe in me?
I believe in you, couple. 100%.
I don't believe in
형님, 가자! 오, 됐다!
됐다.
나이스! No, and the time is off. So close. 2, 1.
여기서 한번 빌리고 프라이머가 끝났는데? 여기서 끝날 때 싹 끝.
재밌었는데 이건 어려웠던 것 같아요.
생각보다 어렵죠.
근데 이게 버그가 좀 있는 것 같고.
근데 재밌었고 쉽네요.
That is it for the Winston parkour. Hope you guys had fun. I know the players did. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Awesome stuff from our tanks and Danny there, but it's time to jump in with the big picture conversation. It's time for our Ramco Power Rankings. And Johnny, there's a little bit of an argument here when we were putting this together. Walk me through with what we finished on.
Right, so today I figured we reflect on the tournament. We've had Pocket, and there's been some surprises in the tournament. Some teams performed as expected, but there's also been some disappointments. So I can kick it off with the surprises here. I think Twisted Minds beating Crazy Raccoon. Great achievement by them, and I think they're very pleased. You heard Fancy right now. Virtus Pro, they escaped the group of death. Group A, of course, and Varel, you gotta give it to the Japanese team. They took down one of the Chinese organizations in a small region at that. Great achievement for them.
Who do you think is on path? Kind of go with your expectations. I saw 3 teams living up to standard.
OWCS, possibly. Falcons as well. Actually, all 4 teams that we do have in the semis right now, aside from Twisted Minds, probably we expect to be here. Okay. Obviously, Twisted Minds, the only reason I don't include them is because Crazy Raccoon are the team that you would have thought would be in the top 4 instead, but happen to have Twist in here. I mean, they perform so well.
I think we can all agree on that. Jake, though, it's time for our Dr. Sulman Al-Habib doctor's notes. What's the diagnosis for today?
I mean, my diagnosis, I'm just thinking about the disappointments, right? Gotta look at Weibo Gaming, you know, like what a worry. And just want to diagnose, man, Chinese Overwatch is on the ropes. Weibo has been carrying the flag for a long time now. This year, dropped it.
Avril? My diagnosis is Symmetra dominates. It's the European, EMEA, SEM teams playing the brawl. They look like they have the best read on the meta right now. It was proven the Twisted Minds versus Crazy Raccoon game that will likely continue for the rest of the tournament.
Teleports for the win. Johnny?
I'm going with EMEA. They're heating up. I think EMEA will close out the tournament beating one of the Korean teams, either T1 or Falcons, and it would be the first time we have a champion from an EMEA region.
EMEA is going to win?
I think so, Pocket. They're looking mighty strong in the Symmetra.
First time?
First time.
EWC champions.
EWC champion. I'm calling it. Twisted Minds or OWCS.
That may be the hottest take we are going to get here in this studio. Do you agree with Johnny? Is he faded? We talk to the players.
Landon, big day. Big day. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. Did you guys expect to be in this, for semifinals? Did you guys expect this at all?
Going into this event, I think us and Twisted Minds were beating up a lot of the teams in Korea. I think word got around, and both of us were feeling that we were going to make pretty deep runs in this tournament.
Talking about Korea, this is actually facts. I talked to a lot of Korean Overwatch players, and they did say that OWCS is the scariest team. What do you make of that?
I mean, it makes sense if you saw what was going on in practice. Like we were taking some names. I think we used that practice time very effectively.
Okay.
We drilled against a lot of comps, and we were really well prepared for this event.
Okay. Well, I mean, semifinals, you're going up against Twisted Minds. You guys faced them 2,000 times. What's the game plan?
Just play better. I think both of our teams play really similarly. I think we have a bit more flexibility. So if things don't work for them, the match will end 3-0. Things don't work for us, we can make it an absolute dogfight.
All right. Well, I feel like it's going to be a very exciting match. Landon, thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quartz.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good today, yeah.
Okay. I just talked to Landon, and they said, they have more flexibility compared to you guys. What do you make of that?
I mean, he is right, but I feel like we have the advantage on the sim comp. That's the strongest right now.
Right.
I feel like if we play our best today, there's no way we lose to them.
Yeah. I mean, also yesterday, you guys beat down the defending champions, Crazy Raccoon. How did that feel?
I think the best feeling I've ever felt since 2023. Yeah. Same feeling.
Yeah, I mean, and because of that, you guys are in the semifinals. You guys are going up against OWCS, a team that a lot of Korean players say that are very scary. Are you scared at all?
I wouldn't say scared. I'm excited for the match. I think we can beat them today. If we play our game, as I said before, OWCS is a hard team. I would say they're the hardest team in the tourney, but I still think this is peak Twisted Minds. I think it will never be better than this. So I think we will win today.
And I honestly think you guys are in really good shape right now. You both of the DPS players that you have on your team, insane.
I would agree, 100%.
Of course. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Okay.
You too. Yeah. You too.
Gentlemen, we are moments away from kicking off this match, and we got to start with the Twisted Minds story. No one thought they would make it to Championship Sunday after drawing Crazy Raccoon in the quarterfinal. Jake, you are actually the one who said it might happen. How far can they go?
Look, I think this is the best Twisted Mind squad we've ever seen. Maybe it's the best meta for them yet with the Symmetra led by Yubi and, of course, Quartz. I mean, it's hard to think of a better spot for him on the hard hit scan. The Kai is just doing ridiculous things so far in Esports World Cup.
Johnny, we, of course, gave Quartz the MVP for the upset over Crazy Raccoon. What makes this DPS player so special?
Well, he's really aggressive, and that's what I loved about this Twisted Minds roster. They started off pretty slow in the group stage, but since then, it's been all about proactiveness, energy, playing with pace. Now, against a match like OWCS, it's going to shift the potential of this match a little bit. You have two Symmetra teams, and it's not going to be about pushing the pace at all times. It'll be how do you respond to the enemy Symmetra teleporters instead. So this could alter the matchup a little bit. Quartz will have to adapt.
Now, Yubi has only had one off match, but that was at the very start of the tournament in groups. Can he continue to play at the level we saw yesterday?
He's going to need to. He's the Symmetra master. He'll be up against Checkmate on the other side. We talked to Funny Asher on desk the other day, and he said that loss to Sign Esports really gave them the wake-up call. It was the right time to lose. They have a low bracket in the groups. Now there's no low bracket. This is where they've locked in. They beat Crazy Raccoon. They should be ready to beat LKC as well.
One more match, and they could find themselves playing for the EWC title in 2025. This mid-season championship has been insane. Jake, we got to talk about the tank, though. The supports. Round out this TM roster for me.
And honestly, I think it's a great point bucket because these are going to be maybe the more crucial players in this Sim v Sim matchup. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the tanks in particular.
Oh, yeah.
KSA, it's been around for a while, right? Coming out of Saudi Arabia, looking like probably the best tank out of the country for quite a while. And he's going to be challenged by Ziad on the other side. They're both going to be under tremendous pressure. Sim outputs ridiculous damage onto tanks, and that's going to be a lot to deal with here on the big stage.
Who do you think is going to be louder in the venue tonight? Twisted Minds fans or the opponent's cheering squad for Al-Qadsiya?
Oh, it's going to be a tough one, Puckett. We've got a lot of Twisted fans here, though. You know, talk to Fancy about it. We see the Twisted Minds HQ in the Boulevard as well. I know the team fans come out, so I think it might be theirs.
Jake, we got to talk about the opposition on the other side of this matchup. Al-Qadsiya had a clean run through their groups. They've been looking in the bracket as well. What's impressed you most about this squad?
You know, I think for me, for Al-Qadsiya, it's their versatility. We talk about them being a symmetric team, which they are. They're amazing at it. You see Labda taking those teleporters on the Cassidy, just gunslinging from all sides. They really have mastered this comp. But what really impresses me about Al-Qadsiya, they don't rely on it. If they need to go to the Tracer, if they need to go to a different look, they have it in spades. I also think the backline, Landon, this guy is hitting his lifetime peak. I don't think we've ever seen him play at this level, and there couldn't be a better moment to reach that peak than here at the Esports World Cup.
Fans were going wild for the play from Checkmate and, of course, Lambda. But can we talk a little bit about the 17-year-old? What can we expect from their tank, Johnny?
Well, I think Ziad is an ace up their sleeve because not only does Ziad play brawl heroes like Hazard, Ramatra, Mauga, we can also expect to see some D.Va gameplay in this matchup. And that is a hero that typically brawl heroes, you know, they're very different from that D.Va, but that D.Va could prove crucial, especially against some of these support lines that we will see out of Twisted Minds. So Ziad, very young, very talented, and, you know, a hometown favorite right here. He could have a big impact in this series, Puckett.
There's Kellix, the Great Dane, makes his return, and when he does, they find success, Avril.
Yeah, he joins this roster, just completely revolutionizes how they play. He's on that backline alongside Landon. I agree with Jake here. That backline looks so solid right now, but also the DPS. Talk about the fact that Labda was an ex-member of Twisted Minds. He also won the Overwatch World Cup in 2023 alongside a bunch of the Twisted Minds members, alongside Quartz, and now he moves against Quartz. They're both in the hit scan role. They're both going to have to bring up top performances.
So did he get dropped, or did he leave for a better team?
That is a very interesting question, Puckett. I'm not too sure, but he'll be wanting revenge either way.
We love the revenge matches. We love to see it play out on stage, and this match is going to be kicking off in just a moment. So in our final moments, we have to go through our predictions. Jake, you were perfect on day 3. Can you go 3 for 3 today? Who are you calling to start the day?
I've got Al-Qadsiya in this one. I think the flexibility is going to be the edge. I think Twisted Minds have come very far, leveraging a strategy that makes them unique and hard to deal with, but no one is better prepared for it than Al-Qadsiya themselves. They've mastered the strategy. They're also experts on the Symmetra, and there won't be an advantage from the comp in this series.
Johnny, it's your turn. Who do you have walking away with our first semifinal victory?
All right, first of all, I think it's going to 5 maps. I think it's going to be an absolute banger, and I can't wait to watch it. But like Jake, I'm going with Al-Qadsiya in this one. We've been really impressed by Twisted Minds so far in their proactive gameplay, but I think Al-Qadsiya, they are the smarter team, and I think Checkmate Symmetra is going to be a key when Al-Qadsiya take down Twisted Minds.
Jake took a risk in the prediction against Crazy Raccoon. I will be taking the risk today for the Twisted Minds fans. They impressed me a lot versus Crazy Raccoon. I do think this is going to be a close one, 3-2 for me. Al-Qadsiya, to me, are going to be better off the Symmetra. When the Sim bans come through, Tracer is going to favor Checkmate 100%. However, in the other matchups, I do think, based on what we've seen, Quartz is putting on an MVP level performance. And if he does that again, I don't know if Al-Qadsiya can handle that.
Al-Qadsiya has been clean in their victories. It has been a murky road for Twisted Minds, but for some reason, I think they are the first team to get to 3 wins. I'm with Johnny. It happens in a Game 5. We'll find out who's right, who's wrong, because it's time to bring out our teams.
16 teams took to this stage just 3 days ago, and now only 4 remain. It's time for our semi-finals, and this time we are starting it off with a local Saudi showdown.
That's right, and it's going to be such a good one. It's the Sim Comp originators going up against the self-proclaimed best team using it, and this is also a rematch of the EMEA Stage 2 Grand Finals. But you know, Fancy, let's see who's going to come out on top on this very stage today when it matters the most.
Absolutely, let's find out. First, let's call out the first team on stage. They have been playing it close all year long, but in recent history, this Saudi squad had the upper hand every time they met. Please welcome your EMEA Stage 2 winners, OWCS.
Going up against their local rivals, the team that shocked the world by knocking out Crazy Raccoon of the tournament. Make some noise for Twisted Minds.
Which of the local teams will rise above and make their nation proud? جمهورنا شيلوا هشينا مرة ثانية شيلوا هشينا. Let's get this show on the road.
Thank you very much, Fancy and Zoe. Semi-final time, Twisted Minds versus OWCS on the stage here at the Midseason Championships at EWC. The winner crushes the key of the other and locks their spot into that grand finals.
Only 4 teams remain, and this rivalry has extended beyond the OWCS. A clash that ended in Twisted Minds' favor in Game 7 in the Saudi E-League Grand Final, but overall it's been 7-4 in encounters in favor of OWCS. A lot of the favoritism would go OWCS' way just based on those results, but after Twisted Minds beat Crazy Raccoon yesterday, how can you doubt them?
Yeah, it feels like the crowd split 50-50, but the recency bias, the recency test with Twisted Minds taking down Crazy Raccoon, the reigning champions at EWC, plus almost the world champions too last year, narrowly getting beaten by Falcons. A very, very tough opposition that everybody thought Crazy Raccoon were going to win. It was going to be, a Crazy Raccoon Falcons final again. Twisted Minds proved that they could upset, and that gap between the regions is very much closing.
And with this meta going into the Symmetra direction, these are the 2 best teams. One being the pioneers, of course, around UB, around Twisted Minds, ever since the Overwatch World Cup 2023, and then OWCS bring their own spin to it. And it's going to be a lot between the tank matchup. Ziad, 17 years old, KSA, 7 years ahead. This is the old guard versus the next generation of Overwatch.
Lijiang Tower's the first map, Farah Ban. OWCS, Ramatra for Twisted Minds. We saw Farah to quite a devastating effect yesterday. Not too surprised to see that kind of taken off the table. Of course, my eyes are going to be set on Quartz versus Labda. Used to be teammates, and Quartz has had an unbelievable run in this tournament. It feels like every single game we see him in, he's playing a life game. And if that continues, that trophy could be theirs.
And still good friends to this day, despite being on different teams, but now brothers will be turned enemies. And this is going to be, like you said, the hit scan matchup to watch. Quartz, the day MVP yesterday, I think it's going for tournament MVP as well. Quartz has been lights out, a huge reason Twisted Minds were able to take that win over Crazy Raccoon yesterday.
That backline too. Look at the history of, like, Kellex, for example. The guy's been around forever. Same with Astro. It's been good to see Simple kind of stepping up to the plate too. Their double flex and his ability to play Zen, Alari, like pretty much anything thrown at them. It's always been a bit of a worry, honestly, having Funny Astro on the team in the way that, hey, we can play the Lucio Palmer, but as soon as the format changed and we implemented the ban system, it was like, okay, we banned the Lucio. What is Astro going to pivot to? He's looked fantastic on the Juno, definitely his second best hero, and the ability for Simple to flex around that has been one of their major keys to success. The winner here, I mean, maybe facing Falcons later on. It's T1 and Falcons in that other semi-finals. Korea versus EMEA finals is guaranteed here.
And we're guaranteed a new champion no matter what, and a Saudi team to carry a medal, which we'll be covering the third place match before that big final. But to go and talk about Astro some more, I mean, he's going up against Calix, they're very familiar with each other, competing in Europe for so long as main supports, but two very different approaches to the Lucio. Funny Astro will be wall riding, he's aggressive, he's in your face, he's fragging as a Lucio. Those Cheerios are deadly. Calix, though, knows his limits, and he's always just on teams, winning, disappears, comes back, and he's so consistent. I'm excited to see how they're gonna clash.
Yeah, Astro's definitely got some of the best Lucio mechanics on the planet, has to be said. People were saying that in the Overwatch League, and I still think it's relevant here. Landon too, although his best hero being that BAP, has been incredibly flexible for OWCS over the course of the year, even coming from last year as well. Semi-final means a lot to the audience, of course. We've got a packed house here in Riyadh.
Lijiang Tower picked by OWCS just to kick things off as we'll be getting into map. They had that 2-0 over Virtus Pro. Very strong map, but Twisted Minds also like going to Lijiang Tower. They're 2-2. They dropped this against Crazy Raccoon and Sign Esports, but have still had an overall very strong tournament. And to get rid of that Ramatra from OWCS, that's a ban they won't be able to touch on later on. So Twisted Minds also going to deny any far on the other side. OWCS will be forcing Twisted Minds to probably play some Marissa.
Let's load into this first map then. Lijiang Tower, we'll see where the rounds take us. Checkmate 2, God, he was a tank player way back when, right? A little bit of a substitution, now back on the old DPS, thankfully. The guy's an absolute beast. Let's load in. First map, Lijiang Tower. Let's hear some noise, Riyadh. OWCS versus Twisted Minds.
Of course, the signature D.Va, very fast composition, and Landon will lean more into the Kiriko. That Kitsune rush just adds a whole new layer of aggression when OWCS truly want to go in. And the full, just how they've kind of reinvented the Symmetra style has been amazing. KSA thinking about the Mauga just to collapse, now floating to different. I'm expecting the Orisa, but it's the KSA Zarya to counter the D.Va.
This is spicy from KSA. Of course, it is a battle of the Sims, it always will be. Very defensive, though, from OWCS running this May. KSA is going to have, yeah, this is going to be an instant swap, surely. Good first fight here from OWCS. That May surprising Twisted Minds out of the gate. Point unlocks, there's a free cap for AQ.
Such a good Maywall from Labda, but Twisted Minds broke it down, but the Zarya only has so many bubbles at this point of the game. KSA is going to be using it all for himself, so I don't think you want to fight server against the May from Labda. Twisted Minds going to go into more open area.
This is risky from KSA. Yeah, you're exactly right. You have to fight on this point. A free flip, though, coming in for Twisted Minds. OWCS just not reacting. Teleporter there onto server to try and force Quarks to reposition, but he doesn't have any fear in his eyes. KSA laser beams down Landon. They've actually lost mech as well of OWCS. Quartz, though, ends up just primary firing Labda down after that ice block was popped pretty early. Those Twisted Minds continue their point cap. Ziad killed in Baby D.Va. And that point flip from Twisted Minds there, right underneath the noses of OWCS, that cannot happen.
Yeah, and they gave up server as well. Like, OWCS could have just let them go into the middle and surround them, but just didn't know how to react until it was too late. Maybe a checkmate flank with the teleport would have been great, but Kitsune rush from Landon. This will be a boon for OWCS.
Sound barrier for Funny Astro goes pretty low. Has to be safe. Simple also pretty damn low. Landon, though, is going to push everybody forward now with this rush. Sound barriers on both sides. Simple 5% away from his own. KSA first to fall, though. That wall just decimating the Zarya. The longevity in these fights It's just not there for the Zarya. As soon as you use those bubbles, it can be so easy to force out as well.
I get to defend with this Mei and with a Blizzard too, and wondering where OWCS are going to want to hold this. They could just try to go back to the server side, but what is going to be the OWCS reaction if Twisted Minds just go to the point? Would have liked OWCS to play at this front choke point, but maybe they're wary about the grab.
Couple of dinks there coming in from Lambda. Ends up killing Quartz really early on. Yeah, this is it. This is the worst choke point to push into against the Mei and the Sim. A free TP back to the point, and you're safe if you're caught off guard. Just quickly killing the turrets though, and there's another pick. Astro down.
You don't even need to see the Lambda Quartz Sojourn showdown when Lambda has these icicles like that. And now they just get a free fight win. Seconds gone away. Free teleport out potentially to help Ziad, but he has to be front and center to deny the grab.
Just give it Landon enough time to build up some other walls in this Kasune rush. There's a wall on the high ground. It's going to be another one here for OWCS. Rush still available. No one's going to go down just yet. Fighting through these walls, waiting for the cooldowns to wear off. Now both rushes are laid on to the points. A nice little flank here from UB. It's just going to laser Ziad in the back of the face. But, well, that Graviton Surge connected. And it connected with the right targets as well. UB kills 2 with a charged up beam. Kellex takes a headshot from the high ground as Quads. Oh, he's so good. We talked about him having a life game throughout this tournament, and this continues to be one, it feels like.
This will help Twisted Minds catch up in the score, and Lambda's still going to stick to the Mei. Quartz and UB combine their forces and synergize so well off the grab, but front and center is Twisted Minds looking for the Mei wall. Lambda does isolate KSA.
Nice sound barrier though. KSA now trying to find Zarya to beam down. Both beats expended now, and Ziad's in a little bit of trouble. In server, uses thrusters to get away, but overtime approaches.
Yeah, this will be the lead for Twisted Minds. No ults to really play off of. It's all going to be a vanilla fight, and Checkmate gets rid of the TP, places his down a little forward. Could have been better, but server control goes to OWCS.
Early block there from Lambda. Can't afford to be over-aggressive now, but Lander is super low as well on the side of OWCS, playing a little bit safe, but safe enough to help the frontline push from OWCS. Finding Astro trying to get away, but those icicles, oh, they're feeling them now. Lambda's accuracy on these right clicks has just been so frustrating for Twisted Minds to deal with. And this ward causing some staggers too, forcing KSA to jump to the ball, but Ziad is there to try and match. Luckily though, KSA does bowl through the team, but killed before he can touch. There's going to be a final attempt here from Funny Astro, but a boop is awaiting him as the first round is over to OWCS.
That could have gone either way, 100-99. That'll give you a hint on how this series will go. Of course, it was Twisted Minds that got the last laugh in that Saudi E-League Grand Final. Lambda was so good on these Mei walls too. Just at the front door. And especially Ziad identifying when KSA was out of bubbles. Killing KSA sent the forces of Twisted Minds reeling and away from the point. And the reads to know when that Hammond was coming to touch. OWCS really impressing in that first round.
Wow, Simple got kind of rolled there as well, but those turrets slowing him down. That's a frustrating way to end it. Twisted Minds happy to stick with the comp though. They're still playing this Zarya. But OWCS, they're pulling out all the stops here. I love the Mei on Lijiang Tower. You just command such presence on the point and attacking into it, especially with Zarya or Sim, it's tough. The TP can be used to kind of escape, but you get walled off, you're toast.
This is one of the weaker rounds, though, when it comes to Mei, especially where this fight is trying to take place within that open area, but now it's not letting a round to escape. OWCS push Twisted Minds against the wall.
Yeah, and you can wall off that white room as well, and that's exactly what Lambda did. Even a fraction of a second of that wall coming up, stopping the healing coming through, is really just life or death for the player trapped on the other side. A cap for OWCS, but it's not over just yet. as Quartz is still shooting away. Does find the pick onto Kellex, of course, but a remake here from Ziad is going to be good for pressure in the front line. A wall there, not quite so perfectly placed by Labda, but enough to kind of split the forces of Twisted Minds, and a right click onto Quartz is good for one. Sound barrier comes in for Kellex to try and secure this fight, and now the rush, the road has been laid forward for Simple. Can the rest of his team actually follow with this? Zarya, though, on the road, and oh boy, that's a lot of charge, and that's a lot of damage coming through from KSA. Almost a grab earned as Twisted Minds get a flip.
Simple picking Landon was everything. OWCS were not going to survive that fight without the healing and without the Kitsune rush, but maybe they can go for a guaranteed swing. Do they want to hit this head on? No, to the right side of the point, trying to trigger the flip in their favor, but KSA has a grab, and there's no barrier to respond.
Quartz finds the first pick. The wall ends up coming out to try and sustain through the fight, but the wall is already waning by the looks of it. Everybody just firing into it currently as this Graviton Surge looking to be placed by the side of Ziad. He's already lost his mech, so this would be a free one if they choose to use it, but they might just want to go for this free fight. Checkmate Landon down. Ziad throws himself off the map, knowing the fight is done, and Twisted Minds hold on to two massive ults.
Such a huge wall from UB2, force OWCS just to be so awkward, and now Twisted Mind's going to try and farm up some more ultimates, and you were able to conserve the grab if you're KSA. You have more sustain with the funny Astro Barrier, so this is Twisted Minds that could go all the way if OWCS are not careful.
DP behind, still looking for this Blizzard. Wall ends up coming up, but the sound barrier preempted from Funny Astro. Twisted Minds have been playing so much more aggressive, so much quicker this tournament, but maybe a little bit too fast. Graviton Surge does land though, but a TP away. Ziad is good for the time being, but has to use that self-destruct to go for the remake. Couple of right clicks from KSA thrown into the dojo, but the remake was successful.
The ults were nullified, but this matters because Twisted Minds have control.
TP through the point, beat lands from Kellex. He tries to get some environmental kills off the map. Bit off a little bit more as he can chew though, as UB chase him down with a right click. A fully charged Zarya is not to be messed with as Checkmate TP's away, but 10% to go, and Twisted Minds will find this first round.
This is for the last hurrah. OWCS Ziad has to touch. He's on his way. Kellex could have a rollout too. Can they deny it?
Ziad, TP onto the point, okay. Overtime triggered now, but health bar is waning for Ziad, even walled off there by his own Mei as they were trying to collapse on the Zarya, but Quartz just unleashes the railgun. Overclock finds 2 kills, and Twisted Minds are taken to a third round on Lijiang Tower.
Oh, things that are assured in life, death taxes, and Quartz getting a pick in every fight. That has been such a difference maker. In Labda, the value on the Mei is a mixed bag. The Blizzard not getting the freezes he was hoping for, especially when the barrier came out from Funny Astro, just to help things move along. The ice block has been good to give him a lot of survivability, but you're just getting more impact out of Quartz. Like, look at this.
That was an incredible grab too. Spotting the Zarya using the thrusters. Luckily didn't get 180'd. All right, third round. Might mark it. 2 Zaryas. No Divas anymore. No funny business.
This is the setup for Labda is so important here. This first fight, if you can defend with Mei and the Symmetra, it's going to be so hard to retake. Ooh.
Okay, you got to be careful crossing that small choke. Quartz just perma-spamming. 100 energy on the rail. Oh, I mean, yeah, Checkmate's regretting that one.
I need someone to try and contest this. I'd love to say if Labda doesn't win this first fight, I'd like to see the mirror, but now OWCS will step up out into the open. Ziad has bubbles to play with. First Mei wall down.
Yeah, decent wall, but 2 entrances to this point, of course. Ziad extremely low. 2 seconds to another bubble, and looks like Twisted Minds knows it. They try and make their approach on this corner, but Ziad reappears. 100 energy. KSA in trouble. Another wall comes in. Simple looks for a teleport exit, but is completely denied from it. And this will be Ziad just lasering down the rest of the team. A couple of little turrets to just be a little fly on the wall. That's about it. OWCS with the first cap.
Yeah, Zia not happy with his D.Va performance. Not able to get back into mech, not able to deny the grab. It's the mind games against KSA. It's OWCS that get to defend first, and so important to do so with the Mei. Twisted Mind's trying to flip.
Yeah, they're going to try and use that wall. That Mei wall, though, actually ended up blocking a lot of that rush. There's only a slight centimeters worth of that Kiriko ult that was usable. A nice right click on the ground there. Splash damage from Checkmate did end up killing Quartz, but now has to deal with this wall. TP's away from the team as he gets a couple of right clicks in on it, but KSA is just dodging around it perfectly. The wall does end up disappearing, and a boot from Funny Astro sends him careening off the edge.
Yeah, Funny Astro, he'll deliver on those important frags, but UB's wall caused the most important chaos and good points where it split up the fight into two, and now Katsia couldn't focus on the right side at the right time. Twisted Minds looking to flip. They could even play close with the grab. They're going to decide to play back so that Quartz can look for picks, maybe not even need to invest in ult.
Graviton Surge versus Graviton Surge, but a really early one here from KSA, and Ziad just melted. KSA basically carved his initials in Ziad's face. A good early fight win as the retreat ensues for Alcatia.
Yeah, that was a good symmetra wall for Checkmate. If the poke phase would have extended even more, would have allowed for a good approach, but the grabs are exchanged, or just one was thrown. Actually, Ziad still has his, and now there's no D.Va to deny it. Ziad looking for a good target, and look, Twisted Mind split out.
Grab. Up onto the sky, Soundbarrier does come in though. Astro jumps in, saves KSA, and Quartz with the railgun again.
He shines like a diamond and is delivering day after day. He's consistent and he's the best. And Labda has to match it. He's on the Sojourn as well. And Twisted Minds are looking to touch spawn. KSA will escape.
I love the spawn touches because they can just use the TP to get away. They're going to go for it again. Labda's too far up. Emergency Soundbarrier and a quick teleport there from Alcatia just to flip the point. There's the quick flip as well. That was an unbelievably good play from Alcad. And now they can just push in with their rush. That caught Twisted Minds completely off guard. Their mind well and truly twisted.
I can't believe Checkmate found the angle. Usually you kind of have to step out of the doorway and through the window. Must have the extra range, and Twisted Minds, like you said, completely caught off guard. And now this round could go either way. And looking towards Yubi to create a safe zone with that barrier, especially on the defense. Alcatia will have to find a good angle with the teleports if they can.
Be a slow fight. Building up to this symbol is going to be important, so they're not going to rush in just yet. He's got 3%, make that 2. As soon as one more right click lands, and there it is. Now the push comes in. They've got the wall. Deal with those mini turrets first, but the wall ends up coming down, separating the team. Quite far back though, as you can see, Labda takes a teleport behind them. And now Twisted Minds have to make a decision. Push into Labda or push into Ziad. Checkmate goes pretty low as a Graviton Surge is thrown in by KSA, and he catches 2. Checkmate now looking on an off angle to try and disarm Quartz. The right click connects onto Yubi, and the turret does the rest of the work as the wall is deployed, but Checkmate does end up going down. Quartz bums back with a little bit of revenge, and now Twisted Minds in full control. Ziad is going to be on this wrecking ball to get the final touch. Booped around for a slight moment there, but it looks like KSA wants to get back to the fight as well. An SCC overtime as Quartz uses this overclock once more. Labda's one completely denied by KSA's defense matrix as Quartz just waits, bated breath for his prey to enter the point as Twisted Minds take map 1.
It was Alcatia that started Lijiang Tower, and it's Twisted Minds that ended it off the blood, sweat, and tears of Quartz. The cohesion behind UB's walls. The Zarya supremacy from KSA, forcing the Ziad D.Va to kneel and to copy. But you cannot replicate what KSA can do when pushed to this edge. You tried to take away his RAM, and he's got options.
Alcatia is the team everybody was afraid of coming into this tournament. Even the Korean teams paying them a lot of respects, saying their sim stuff is extremely good, scary in fact. And we've already seen that gap between the Korean and EMEA teams is closing and closing swiftly. And now it's basically like a battle of brother teams. I mean, UB, Quartz, Labda, going at each other right now, but Quartz continues to just honestly dominate on the Sojourn. It's been tough to shut this guy down at the best of times when you're having a game like this, when you're having a series, when you're having a tournament like this. How do you even put a stick in the spokes? Like, how do you stop this guy?
Yeah, I think the Labda swap off of the Mei just came too delayed because the Zarya can just bubble you out of the Blizzard. You didn't have as much of an impact. Labda swaps at the last second to the Sojourn, but you just could not stop what had already been started. Now OWCS fall on the first map on their very map pick. Despite taking the first round, Twisted Minds just stuck to their guns, and now it's OWCS that decide our next map.
The Symmetra is going to be a hot pick here throughout this series. The question is, do either of the teams actually ban it? We've seen the Zarya, it's not been played that much throughout the tournament, if any. Ziad and KSA both bringing out on that final round to mirror. We know historically Zarya good against the Diva, but as time kind of goes on with Mei, with Sim, very easy to shut this Zarya down. You have to be explosive with it.
OWCS's choices of maps, they've gone to New Junk City and Coliseo when they face GK in that Game 5 in groups. Ideally, they'd really like to go to something friendly to the Diva. Any small map, control, flashpoint to be ideal, especially now that they're free to keep the Diva back in. But we'll see what the bans hold, as if those bans are locked in, I'm seeing Diva being banned out by Twisted Minds, Juno banned by OWCS.
Could even just be a Zarya matchup. We're going to Flashpoint and we're going to Atlas. Brand new map in the map pool, brand new map in the game as well. It's good to see it actually in rotation already. Suravasa, of course, taken out to substitute for Atlas. And it's been interesting to see the development, of course. No way you've got as much scrim time on this map as comparatively to Suravasa, which has been the go-to Flashpoint throughout the entirety of stage 2. Let's lock in. Let's load it. Twisted Minds taking an early lead. Like you said, OWCS, a Juno ban and a Diva ban for TM.
So is Ziad gonna want to do something like the Hazard, the Ram? Do you dare mirror the Ramatra Goat on a map like this? Very close. Narrowly being taken by Twisted Minds in round 3. The last time they encountered each other, it was a Game 7. A grueling gauntlet between both these teams. Even at some points, Twisted Minds had employed Psycho as a flex support, and they still took some wins. So now you have Simple in the lineup. This is peak Twisted Minds.
It's going to be Lucio's all day for both teams. I want to see if they've got anything else kind of cooked up. Brawl makes the most sense too. That Ramatra, KSA, even Hover and Mauga, I can imagine it's going to be a Ramatra pick from TM as well. KSA, an exceptional Mauga player to be fair. And on the first point too, this high ground control with a Mauga, it can be so tough to even rush and like brawl into that. That cardiac overdrive mixed with the Sin, it's just so much upfront damage. Even with the block from the Ram, I mean, good luck. TP's out, UB sticking on this Sim.
And Twisted Minds had a really tough loss against Crazy Raccoon, but it was against a dive that they just could not withstand, and UB played the Mei, and I would expect him to fall back to the Tracer if the Symmetra doesn't work out, but this is the bread and butter of UB, hoping to diff checkmate this time.
Look at that, they're already fighting over to this high ground. Quartz on a nice off angle. Very little space you can kind of hold here if you're OWCS here and not get shot by Quartz. Just that small little pillar, that Lab just hiding behind. It's all about focusing down these Rams, but there's the first kill. The right-click railgun from any Sojourn and then a punch, it'll do it. Checkmate falls, same with Lab. Okay, Twisted Minds off to a good start. They've lost their tank, however. So can OWCS actually hold on to this? It's a little bit too much damage though, especially without your Sojourn. So you're gonna have to force something here and actually just use that sound barrier to get in the fight. Kellex trying to track the location of Yubi. He was just perma-teleporting. But that early sound barrier for OWCS ends up winning the day.
Yeah, it was very messy at the beginning, but with KSA falling, Twisted Minds had to scatter and just take their own duels, take their ones, and OWCS, they won't have that for the next fight, obviously, and you don't have a Tracer who can go and cap while all this dancing is happening, so you need to win the fight, ideally, or send your Lucio to cap. We'll see what Twisted Minds decide. We'll have both support ultimates to fight.
TP across, sound barrier advantage for Astro. He's in the vortex, but it's all good. A teleport away, but Quartz is actually on an off angle right now, surprising the backline of OWCS. A quick 180 from Kellex deals with the Sojourn, and landed healing everybody up from afar now, as they see Ziad kind of pushing and pressuring the front line. Should be a fairly easy collection here of some more percent. This is a tough fight for Twisted Minds to fight into. Just using your beat like that and not winning the fight, not good.
Yeah, just getting surprised by the TP there of OWCS, but you got the ults. OWCS, how much did they want to invest for this last 20%?
TP off angle, rush used, disengaged from Twisted Minds, a better rush for them. They're fighting on the point with it, and here comes the wall, forcing Labter to maybe relocate. There isn't an annihilation for Ziad, but he ends up teleporting up to the high ground, so wasn't able to kind of extend that ultimate as the flip comes in. OWCS, though, happy with this scenario. They just need another flip, and they should be good. The overclock used from Quartz down this small corridor. Oh, it's easy pickings for the Sojourn. Ziad pretty low, too. They're going to decide to stagger him for as long as humanly possible.
OWCS used 3 ults and let the flip happen, didn't get kills, and then lost the fight. That was kind of sketchy from OWCS, but like you said, they got a score buffer, 98%. It'll take one fight. Twisted Minds invested just as much, though. They have to make the comeback.
I really like that outwards push. Again, they're kind of pushing the other team to the limits. Both of them, like, using the teleport to get an early engage, early poke, and maybe find a pick, and then just running away with it. Low ground push here for OWCS and a TP onto the high ground. The wall deployed on the point. KSA's there, going to be there to try and match the team, but a sound barrier, and he just gets overwhelmed, overran. Those micro turrets aren't going to do much now, unfortunately, for Yubi, as tumbling bodies of Twisted Minds just enter the point to try and trigger OT, but this is all lost here for TM on this first one. OWCS are going to flip, and they're going to find 1 point.
OWCS, they have the good initiative. I mean, the very first fight was off the barrier. They collect 80%. They just stuffed Twisted Minds, traded ults, ultimately ending out on top. Quicker to rotations, you have support ults, both of them from the side of Twisted Minds. We'll see who steps into this open area first. Labda versus Quartz, while also, how much do you want to separate yourself from the flock? Take these off angles, because the Lucios been really good at peeling. Ziad's going to be first to step up. It's not unlocked yet. He will be exposing himself to poke. He'll use the pillars as bait, and now you got Kitsune Rush for Landon righty down the lane.
Well, Labda's super low. Prompts a quick Suzu there to make sure he doesn't get one-tapped. Simple trying to dodge out of the way of Labda as the wall is placed on the point. Breaking this fight up, breaking it in half. Good push from Twisted Minds. These walls used to perfection.
I kind of was expecting OWCS to try and mirror some of these ults. Like, Landon was in position to Kitsune Rush Ziad. Maybe they just want to combine that with the Annihilation, but Twisted Minds, they're so quick to overwhelm you. And this is the OWCS special comp. And, well, Twisted Minds doing pretty well so far. They will be defending for now, but wait now, meeting some trouble. Ziad is up close.
Punch block, punch block, punch block. Sound barrier. For Funny Astro. Checkmate is in the front line, just had nowhere to go. A good little teleport behind as well. Turning the attention of OWCS as Quartz. I gotta get some numbers on this railgun, this overclock efficiency. He's at minimum getting 2 kills every single ult.
Yeah, Labda versus Quartz, just the 2 best Sojourns that we have facing off, but it's Quartz who has just been lightning in a bottle when it comes to this tournament. Labda, at least we get to see him on the hero this time. Quick TP in. Ziad wants to bring the attention all on himself to pop the Annihilation, get a flip, but it's 99% to Twisted Minds.
Yeah, the SEC overtime comes in, but OWCS do have this support ult advantage. Kellex making good use of it as well. Beat comes in, easy fight win. No shot, you take over the game there. Twisted Minds. Maybe you lay down the rush, but against the sound barrier. It's a bit too overwhelming there if you're trying to contest at the same time.
Yeah, maybe Funny Astro was grabbing a pack. I don't know how much backup KSA had while he got jumped on by the entirety of OWCS. They've been looking really cohesive, but they still have to go from 0 to 100. So ult economy is going to be key.
And Quartz find an opening at the very early Suzu. You almost got to, if you're around 50% HP as a squishy, you just have to Suzu the front line. Otherwise, one of the Sojins is going to hit a railgun headshot, and that fight is done. Making it very slow, though. This might only be a one-fight OT.
So yeah, KSA took some heavy damage, probably from Labda. Overclock on the other side of that pillar, waits Labda, hoping to get a headshot surprise on Yubi. Where's this Yubi teleport gonna go? It's gonna go towards Labda. They're not gonna take it, at least fully.
Yeah, they were just waiting for Wall that whole time. And they managed to use it there, and Labda gets sniped out by Quartz mid-ult. Quartz shuts him down. Yubi is full charge, but ends up falling over to the Annihilation, even though he took the teleport. Ziad's still pretty low, but that armor coming in clutch with the Annihilation. Swinging forward, looking at KSA, but it is all Quartz all day. An overtime coming in for Twisted Minds, and Quartz once again shows up big with his OC.
Saves that fight just like he did against Crazy Raccoon. If it wasn't for Quartz, I don't know if Twisted Minds would even be in this match. Incredible performance, map after map, in Labda. Silenced in the middle of his ultimate, as you pointed out. That is going to be a killer, especially with OWCS not having the ults for this first fight. Points are equal as OWCS hopes to tie the series, and KSA, he's thrown left hook.
Oh, what a flank! Quartz got behind them. He shut down Labda instantly. A devastating lack of a frontal lobe there by Landon as he puts a railgun on his face. That's a quick cap from Twisted Minds. These TP mind games are insane.
The confidence from Twisted Minds is overflowing once they're happy. Once they get going, it is hard to stop them. Not even the last EWC champs were able to do so. All eyes are on Twisted Minds to see how long they can keep this point up. OWCS will have a barrier, but Funny Astro pretty close to his as well.
It's going to be a big support ult trade here. Astro and Kellex, if Astro can actually get to that sound barrier, should do, as KSA is taking a lot of damage. Ravenous Vortex hits the back line, it prompts an Annihilation, a quick teleport though. However, as they do trade backlines, OWCS end up just basically flipping the map. The Russians are coming in pretty late here for Simple, but it's good enough, I think, on this staircase to actually push them all forward. Simple actually now just hunting Labda, but he scores a railgun to the back of the head. Quartz and checkmate now in a small 1v1, but with Astro's help, he should be good. A teleport, a right click, another TP, another right click. Checkmate needs this kill and he needs it bad. Quartz is now full HP with Ziad going exceptionally low. Pops the Annihilation to stay in the fight, but this wall is something you cannot contend with. Twisted Minds, they lose Quartz, but they got the point. They're going to get OT, I'd imagine, OWCS, but I don't think UB wants them to. A TP and a smack to the face as Twisted Minds. A 2-1 up. Yeah, Quartz dropping the big question mark.
Funny Astro, hilarious too. The way that he's just impactful in the kill feed as well. That could be the big difference. Twisted Minds matching ult for ult, and OWCS will have to try and defend off the checkmate barrier. They have the early rotations. They have to hold.
VPs, okay. Same teleport. Kellex, yeah, I guess got caught with a right click there. Must have been. It's always going to be frustrating for them to kind of deal with, but because there's no Lucy on the side of OWCS, their ability to just dive in has been cut in half. Although Labda says otherwise. A short-range TP from Yubi doesn't, he can't escape from the wrath of Labda. And now the 1v1 versus Quartz. Quartz 1 HP and Labda shuts him down.
Labda has all his ducks in a row. And if he could sit back, take his shot, he'll land it. And Ziad has to hold the space for him. OWCS going to play forward, maybe to hold this choke and allow the slow, but also want to be aware, where is this UB teleport going to go? Who is going to be their target? Sound barrier 30% ahead for Funny Astro. This could help the flip for Twisted Minds.
Defensive TP back to the point. Sound barrier in. Like you said, Kellex a little bit too far behind. Teleport away for Landon as Yubi goes on the hunt. Spots both supports, lands a bad right click there. Oh my goodness. That was a massive one from Yubi. He whipped round the corner. Unstoppable is Yubi with these right clicks. You hit that and a railgun, it's all over, and Quartz proved it.
Funny Astro is just attending to Quartz, allowing him to take these rotations, go on the flank, off angles, always in OWCS's face, and adding to the damage on top. Such amazing chemistry out of this Twisted Mind squad. Kitsune Rush annihilation from both sides. This could be what defines the map.
I mean, double support ult dump here is going to be pretty scary. Good TP, Rush, 180s there, onto the point so they can make full effect as they try and fight over it. And here comes the overclock by Quartz, looking Ziad directly in the faces. The rest of OWCS scurry for cover. You can't let this guy get an angle. He will take over the game. He spots Landu, who's already TP'd. Makes use of that perk, though, and teleports away yet again. Annihilation does end up killing Quartz, but is it enough? It looks like KSA and Simple join the rest of their brethren on the point. And they're all 10 feet under now as OWCS claim the cap.
Yeah, with how long that fight went up to 77, that could have been Twisted Minds ending it, but OWCS trying to force a final point, and to defend with a barrier is going to be huge, but how will Yubi want to section this fight and section the real estate? Barrier ahead for Funny Astro as well.
They're going to be able to get the touch here, and Lambert starts off the fight with just a neutral right click. It's got the OC as well, but they're not going to need it. This is going the full distance here on Atlas. A reset by Quartz. Jumped on Tracer to try and get back to the point in time. A 2-2 scoreline.
Killing Funny Astro before the sound bear was huge. Final point. We went to round 3 on Lijiang Tower. The clash of Saudi teams will go the distance, as you said, and Labda has come alive, and he'll have the overclock, and he'll want to be louder with it this time, unless Quartz will put him on mute.
Yeah, I mean, he shut him down last time. As soon as he ripped it, Quartz had a railgun with his name on it. Slowly but surely waiting now for Funny Astro's soundbar before they make their push. There's the teleport, quick rotation, and an amp as well to make sure everybody can get to cover. Fearing Labda, of course. There's the overclock, looking directly at Quartz with a sound barrier. Now you're going to have to chew through that. A dash away for Labda, but can still do a considerable amount of damage even with the body shots. Overhealth now disappearing for Twisted Minds, but OWCS have got more to come. A sound barrier on the point is Funny Astro targeted by Landon, and now Labda just fighting with the brothers in the front line as they claim the first cap on this last point.
I like the barrier from Astro. You know what, Labda is starting to heat up, but Twisted Minds couldn't convert kills with all the extra shields they had. They were cowering away, and the later barrier from Kelix is what allowed OWCS to thrive and to live on, and now through the choke, it's a Kitsune Rush annihilation up first for OWCS. KSA a little behind, but Simple could match, and that's all that matters.
They're going to try and rotate. Kelix just one there. Simple tried to go for the extra kunai. Easy rush positioning now for Twisted Minds. Same for OWCS, but Kelix goes down to Astro of all people. Spammed across the map perhaps. They trade for Yubi. Annihilation on the point. Now OWCS can stall this one out. Quartz uses this overclock though and is looking for heads. But are they going to give him any? They end up just dashing away and what? Okay, straight in front of him, ends up appearing. A double dash for Quartz, but no, this time he's a little muted. Checkmate shut Quartz down, and Checkmate's turret does the rest of Funny Astro. OWCS take us all the way. Points, and they find the round and the map. A wall ends up coming in, but it's too little, it's too late. OWCS tying up the series.
Quartz, a target-rich environment, but the Symmetra wall that broke everything up, his attention was called towards the tank. When he had the Symmetra in his face, this disappeared like a ghost. Quartz needed to deliver in that final moment. He's been so good so far. But OWCS just dip, dive, and dodge, and thrive at the end with Checkmate able to ramp up his energy and his DPS to have a last laugh. Our series is tied, and we'll find out who takes the lead after this.
guys, Danny Lim here to bring you guys a cross-stage report for PUBG Mobile. I got Jackie here, the expert. Jackie, I know this is the third day of the grand finals. How are the games looking like?
Really intense action. We've got smash rule and effects. So obviously, if a team breaks that 128-point barrier, you can win straight up from one game, right? So intensity's there. We've currently got 2 teams in the running. Yangon Galacticus, this is a young squad, kind of inexperienced, but they've come out swinging.
Okay.
Looking like they might actually be able to do it today. And then Weibo, they've had a back-to-back chicken dinner in the first 2 games. This is nearly a record-breaking result. I believe it's 4 is the limit.
Weibo Gaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on Overwatch side, Weibo Gaming unfortunately got knocked out already. But I do want to ask, I know you guys have Team Falcons on PUBG Mobile as well. How are they doing?
It's not been great, I'll be honest. It's been a bit of a struggle. The wings have been clipped for the Falcons here. They're trying, but it's a bit of a struggle for the roster. I think the issue is they were a bit slow to adapt compared to how aggressive some of the teams have been, and it's getting quite close towards breaking point.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's over yet because on Overwatch side, Team Falcons are still in the running. They are in the semifinals. They haven't played yet, but I mean, if they win Overwatch on the Overwatch side, they do have a chance of going up the rank in the club championship. So we'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
History in the making here at the Midseason Championships. We're guaranteed a Korea EMEA Finals as Twisted Minds and OWCS now at 1 apiece. We're going to Circuit Royale as our map. Twisted Minds banning Lifeweaver and OWCS banning Freya.
Yeah, Twisted Minds have picked Circuit Royale before, and if you remember yesterday, it was a good one against Crazy Raccoon. Who else but Twisted Minds could full hold the champs of, well, I guess former champs now of Crazy Raccoon. It was disgusting how fast they were able to play. So now we go towards the bans where Twisted Minds, the Lifeweaver first. This is mainly to protect the role, maybe to allow them to run whatever support they want. OWCS trying to force the Sojourn Mirror potentially with this Freya ban.
If you go back even a few weeks ago in the regular stage, I mean, especially in NA where BAP Lifeweaver was this unbreakable comp on this map, especially on that defense. But yeah, I feel like this is more of a protection ban for TM. OWCS starting on defense, Labda back on Sojourn. I mean, it's going to be basically a mirror. We'll see what KSA wants to switch up, but UB checkmate on the Sims, Labda Quartz on the Sojourns. Yeah, this is what you want to see in a semi-finals game.
Yeah, pretty important to just protect that support role. You know how crucial Funny Astro is to bring the speed to the brawl, because without it, you're so susceptible to poke, and you'd have to employ the Juno. Quick TP to the left building. Allow them to take that top left high ground if they want. OWCS trying to hold the first corner, but they could always fall back if needed. Let Labda do all the talking.
Yeah, you basically TP there just to make sure no one's hiding in that mega health pack room for a big surprise, which you don't see the player portraits until about 15 seconds into the round, so you won't know exactly what they're running, but you have a good guess. Good pick onto KSA to start, though.
Yeah, OWCS buying time and to force as many fights as you can. A lot of teams even like to just hold the second quarter. So taking a fight here means more time being taken away from Twisted Minds, and every kill here matters because you're farming up towards the first ult, which could already swing in OWCS's favor.
That's frustrating dying on those doors, man. It really is. TP to the left, wrap around the high ground, little TP back. Okay, just keep them guessing. Don't want to get blown up again. Obviously, Nemesis formed pretty early, but it does match the ad, so you're kind of happy with that trade.
All right, Ziad a lot healthier in this moment. KSA slowed and Quartz, great first pick.
Yeah, I think he took a headshot there and then a couple of extra left clicks to take down Checkmate. And now you've lost a lot of your front, which pressure. Orte, yet again, just hits another railgun shot onto Labda. UB and Astro doing a good getting traded, though, as Landon comes up big. I mean, you lose your sim, you lose so much tank pressure as KSA unable to do much else. It should be a back off, though. I mean, only 2 players surviving. There's no shot you hold this corner.
Yeah, Labda is just going to have the better angle on defense, playing this back bridge, and KSA took a fight in the small room, left the rest of his team susceptible, but the respawn advantage is for Twisted Mind, so trades ultimately will end and favor them. And now you got an overclock.
Yeah, straight from the high ground as well. Look at that back up, yeah. Teleport not quite fully around that corner, so it was an easy lineup for Labda.
Half the time bank is gone, so Twisted Minds better get a move on. They were supposed to be the this is their map pick.
Dude, we're just dying outside of the spawn doors, man. All right, just quick reset, come on. Just got to get back into this, though. We'll see the payload slowly trickling back. Got a minute and 40 seconds and basically made no progress. It's been like an OT fight here as well, because the amount of support ults, you're going to have to really overwhelm them. Early rush from Landon. Simple doesn't get away either. My God, this is disastrous, devastating for Twisted Minds. Like OWCS, they're just fighting on the first corner, and Labda's finding a pick every fight.
How do Twisted Minds like the taste of their own medicine? They did exactly this against Crazy Raccoon, full holding them. Now Twisted Minds, 5 ults. Lit up like a Christmas tree. Surely they can take this win. Nope. But wait, the barrier will deny.
Yeah, that wall. And the sound barrier. Quartz, though, not in their Ravenous Vortex, so he's got his full movement speed available to it. And now KSA is trying to move up, trying to cause as much destruction in the front line, but a quick flip around, and Simple not expecting that. A beautiful placement there of the disruptor shot onto that teleporter. A sound barrier from Funny Astro does hit 4, but with Simple dead, their lifelines are dwindling. An amazing rotational play from OWCS. I mean, this is an outplay of an unbelievable magnitude right now. Funny Astro should be able to get away, but we're looking at an OT push here for first.
30 seconds or less. I love that TP from OWCS. You'd think he would have fell back to the second quarter, the corner, the safer position. No, behind Twisted Minds, they couldn't react in time, couldn't get into the left room, and they're dead again.
Lab just got overclocked too, just wide peek this corner. Wall is going to help them, at least for the time being, as Labda does slide all the way backwards. KSA pretty low, but with no Nemesis form, he can't play too aggro. A teleport away from OWCS as they play the second corner now.
Now Twisted Minds have to face
the rush. They're going in.
They rush.
They're going to try and cower in the mega health pack room, but the charge on the Symmetra is just too much. Quartz dead, UB down, and there you go. OWCS, a full hold against Twisted Minds. A confidence builder, a statement maker on Circuit Royale.
Got the Olays going, OWCS smiling ear to ear to beat them in the Ramatra mirror like that, and the trade ult for ult, and just the TP play from Checkmate. The risk to go behind Twisted Minds like that, to set up Labda for success on all fronts, to sit back and deliver on the overclocks, to kill Twisted Minds before they could cower and spawn. OWCS took our previous map by the skin of their teeth, and they're looking like they want to go to match point soon.
Not sure how much time we have between the last and this map, but it looks like Labda jumped into the hyperbolic time chamber a little bit. Maybe spent 1,000 years training, not sure, because that was an unbelievable performance. He found the first pick in most fights. And like you said as well, the TPs from Checkmate, putting Labda behind the team, catching Simple as you would as a support, be moving behind your team, healing everybody up. They quick TP, they shoot him in the back there, and the rest is history. 20 seconds for the gates to unlock, but this feels like an all-OWCS game here. It could be over before you know it.
This has to be the best game of Duck Hunt out of Quartz to hold OWCS at bay, because the card is just barely around the corner. So Twisted Minds will have to fight with everything they've got. And I think Quartz and UB have to generate that power.
Oh!
The first!
No one has fallen for that since 97. Like, UB, come on. A Widow pick on the sim, no less. So you've lost all your mobility with the Symmetra teleports. You have to play on that second corner, and you're fighting the final fight in a matter of 30 seconds inside this round.
And Labda has a great power position towards. What was that?
Okay, hits the railgun shot on Labda, then disruptor shot kills too. Okay, the great equalizer. They call him Quartz.
Twisted Minds keep their head above water just barely. Labda had the opening pick on Yubi, was able to teleport back just as quickly. Now Alcatraz have to use shields and spawn just to TP, and Quartz is in their face. He has to get away, he can't!
That was an overstay of the century by Quartz. Way too over-aggressive, and Simple's dead too. Oh, the boulder just keeps on rolling down this hill. There's a couple of meters, and they don't even try! OWCS take the lead in the series, a 2-1 after Circuit Royale. And on top of that, match point.
Could have afforded to lose Quartz, but losing Simple meant that KSA could not anchor and deny the progress, to deny the inevitable. OWCS winning back-to-back maps against Twisted Minds' map pick there at the end, forcing the Sojourn Mirror from the OWCS Freya ban, and Labda shows up when it matters against his former teammate.
An unbelievable map from Twisted Minds when they face Crazy Raccoon on that map, holding them fully, and OWCS says, we'll do you one better. We're going to jump down to Pocket as they break down the series thus far.
Congratulations, OWCS. You just made Twisted Minds' best comp look terrible. We got Johnny and Mr. Jake here on the couch, and I want to start with you, Reinforce. Symmetra, she was fun to watch up until the mirror comps. It looks like OWCS has a huge edge, though, if they are running the same characters.
Yeah, I mean, we've been credited OWCS all year, really, because Checkmate Symmetra play is just next level. And I think actually on Circuit Royale, you saw the perfect examples. Yes, you saw initiative from Twisted Minds, but the response teleporter always put OWCS in a position to succeed. And that is the big difference maker. You're seeing Twisted Minds, they're trying to force it, they're trying to put themselves in a position to have the edge, but the response from OWCS is just too much.
Jake, I gotta ask, is that guy Yubi a little bit mind blown right now? Are they on tilt? Because after failing to get any momentum on Circuit Royale, he gets picked by a Widow, and the casters called it out. We don't see that unless you're watching contenders or the amateur scene.
Yeah, it's rare to see that opening Widow pick actually work off. It's an unforced error, but honestly, at that point, Circuit Royale is gone. It really doesn't matter. Like, you're never going to win from that position. It's such a ridiculous overperformance on the defense in that first half from OWCS. I think now, though, talking about Yubi, this is a true test, right? We talk about this team, okay, they don't have a coach. Maybe they don't need one, but sometimes a coach is that external voice who can come in at this moment of incredible stress and pressure and calm people down, give them a different perspective. Yubi is in the game. He's having to deal with this match while at the same time trying to find the adaptation that will give Twisted Minds the edge, and that is a tough ask. I feel like that map 2 flashpoint was such a bellwether moment. I mean, it really did come down to the wire. But once Katsia took that, man, they have so much momentum. This is one of the most egregious circuit defenses I've ever seen. I mean, OWCS are flying right now. They're going to be on such strong momentum going into the next map. Twisted Minds are happy, I guess. They have a bit of a halftime to chill out, but this could be a very quiet locker room, Puckett.
Johnny, we've got some support mains on our talent roster, including Mr. X, and he kept giving mad props to Landon. Is that how you're seeing it right now with the backline comparison? Who has the edge between TM and OWCS?
Yeah, I think Landon is just a fantastic addition to this OWCS roster, of course, because even dating back to his time on Lono Spitfire when he was coached by Christopher, back then they credited communication skills a lot of that team, and that's why they always upset these big teams. Landon has had so much experience in his career, polishing all of these great qualities, like communication, for example. So Landon being your backbone on this roster, helping, that is a fantastic addition to this team. And also the flexibility, if required, of course, we've seen throughout the year, Ilari, Batiste, he does it all. So Landon is a fantastic flex support for this team, and I think he has the edge.
I do want to remind everybody that I picked Twisted Minds to win this one. Why? Because Quartz is on the team. Let's go back to game one, because, Jake, I was all smiles after our first 20 minutes.
Look, Quartz came out very hot. I think OWCS maybe overcooked just a little bit with the Ram ban. I think for them, maybe they were trying to throw things into chaos and catch Twisted Minds off guard, but KSA had a great read to come to the Zarya, and oh man, did Quartz deliver. Give him those extra resources with the Zarya bubble. Killing the Sojourn first isn't really an option when those bubbles can come out. So KSA and Quartz came combined for some really impressive highlights on map 1. However, this was a very weird map because of that Ram ban. They're not going to get this scenario again. Very unlikely now. And so for Twisted Minds, they're going to have to think, how can we recreate this situation where Quartz can carry, Quartz can take over? But he's going against Labda. I mean, years ago, we would have said, Labda, he's a farm main. Like, he's not going to a hit scan mirror versus Quartz. Like, what are you talking about? And honestly, Labda has been one of my most impressive players this year. Just seeing the absolute revitalization of this player, him showing a completely different side of himself on the hit scan role. It's impressive to see. And honestly, I think he could go far here at the Esports World Cup.
Okay, so that is the showdown we're looking forward to. Johnny, if you are Twisted Minds, do you ban a Symmetra? Do you ban a Sojourn to fix or to force something different going into a game 4?
I think you have to go down with the ship in this kind of scenario. Twisted Minds, I think they're a little bit more limited than OWCS. We've seen throughout the year, you know, Checkmate, such a flexible player dating back to the Florida Mayhem days. And then also you can see Labda on Lijiang Tower flexed over onto that May, of course. I think for Twisted Minds, that's not something they want to do. They want to put Quartz on a hit scan hero and maybe keep Yubi on that Symmetra, because even Yubi's Tracer have struggled so far this tournament. Do I trust Yubi in a Tracer mirror against Checkmate? I really don't. And so I think Twisted Minds, they've had some good moments on the Symmetra. They need Quartz to step up, honestly, and make a big difference. It worked out on map 1, but since the question mark we saw on Atlas, it's been downhill from there. So I need Quartz to step up here, and Twisted Minds go down with the Symmetra ship.
There's a look at the boys talking it over. Yubi and KSA. Jake, they are deciding where to go, as it will be Twisted Minds selection. What do you expect to see next?
Well, going to Coliseum, I mean, this is an arena in which Hitscan is incredibly dominant. Probably one of the best Hitscan maps in the pool, I'd say, overall. And so this is a spot where Quartz could step up. He could be that guy. However, Labda has just as much chance. I'd love to see, I mean, maybe this is crazy, but I would kind of like to see maybe a Ram ban out of Twisted Minds. I mean, you had success in that matchup on map 1. The May didn't quite work out for OWCS, so interesting options here.
It's time to battle back and force a game number 5. Twisted fans, get on your hands. Sorry, get on your feet. Make some noise with those hands as we go back to our casters.
Well, they can get on their hands as well. I'm sure everybody in the audience can do a handstand just for you, Buckets. Coliseum is the battleground of choice. Look, OWCS are on match point. Another victory here will truly be rewriting history. I mean, they did lose against Twisted Minds in that Saudi E-League final, but out of the last 5 games they played against each other, it has been an OWCS win.
Quartz may have put a question mark, but OWCS put a period on that Circuit Royale. That full hold was disgusting. Just Checkmate really showing us that he could possibly just be the better Symmetra. Whoever comes out on top of this series, I definitely think could define that. But Coliseum, the Twisted Minds choice, another good one. They full pushed this against Crazy Raccoon yesterday. Pure domination on their side, just TPing all over the place. Twisted Minds, will they be able to force the game 5? Now with that map choice, they're gonna ban the Tracer first. In response, OWCS getting rid of the Life Weaver.
Yeah, it was historically just so impressive, that series against Crazy Raccoon. If you showed me a screenshot of that map and then flipped the names and showed me before the tournament started, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Crazy Raccoon full capping against an EMEA team, sure. But full capping against Raccoon like that was just absurd. They've got to bring the same energy here. They've got to win 2 back-to-back maps to send them to the finals. I do like the Life Weaver ban again, kind of helping them out. I mean, look, Life Weaver not played a whole bunch, but Trace being banned by Twisted Minds is a little bit of a question mark, to be honest.
I like it just to protect the fact that Symmetra is so core to their composition, and the one thing that maybe could have dismantled that was a flanking Tracer. Such a good hero on this map, which is the main neutral point, that long lane, but to try and get around it is a strategy to circumvent just how much of a death ball this can turn into, but OWCS, match point.
Gates unlocked, and yep, both Sims is going to be all this all day for both the EMEA teams. Can Lambda still conquer Quartz? Maybe it was like a small self-boom there by Quartz, hearing that question mark. I mean, I love the talking smack, I love the all chat smack, I gotta be real, but Lambda's been shutting you down now.
Okay, Lambda versus Quartz, I should say. Well, Checkmate had such a good call on Circuit Royale, which would have defined this, but KSA is gonna take the front line.
He'll fake it with the TP there for OWCS. Better rotation for Twisted Minds though. Quartz ends up killing Checkmate. The Lambda's going to do in one bite. They're killing a tank is even better in this scenario. Now you got nothing to stand in your way before Quartz puts you in the grave. Ziad at least kills one onto Quartz, but this is all Twisted Minds here as Ziad falls last, and there's the bot control.
OWCS are breaking line of sight of Landon, and they all got really low, and Quartz, with the help of Funny Astra, such an aggressive Lucio, will go and capitalize on those low HP targets quicker than you can regroup. So initial progress goes to Twisted Minds. And look at this advantage of Kitsune Rush in favor of Simple. Taking out damage, replenishing it, and that means a Kitsune Rush could extend this lead even more.
This map really doesn't start until after the second fight. After this one, does the map really start to get out of control. Yeah, those Kitsune Rushes, Simple, and the rest of Twisted Minds, they've been going quicker, they've been going first. They even did it against Crazy Raccoon, and don't expect them to slow down here as they try and force the issue. There it is, instant rush round the corner, forcing the retreat of OWCS, and Ziad falls on his face. Labs in trouble too, and they're just going to carry on this chase all the way to the spawn.
That QB's teleport too, I don't know, it was just so fast. Twisted Minds, even catching Ziad. I thought that this engage would have been solid enough, but checkpoint in sight of Twisted Minds. Being able to also bring the barrier up from Yubi to deny the OWCS touch, or even to break them up.
Yeah, rush is good, but the wall is better here. They just got to play on the right side of it. This beam is fully charged now by Checkmate, who's dodging in and out of the wall, keeping that 100% energy. They're so close to this checkpoint as well as the sound barrier is popped by Twisted Minds. Quartz on a nice little angle, but now decides to retreat. Both beats used as Quartz peeking around the corner there at Landon, who did initially take a railgun shot, but a TP from Lambda is going to put him in a good spot, and they need another exit, but they can't get away. That teleport was directly in front of OWCS, and Lambda is just going to do the rest. He's already found 2 kills. Checkmate dancing with these TPs as Quartz tries to run. Astro tagged, and now OWCS can make progress.
Yeah, Simple was overextended and tried to Suzu himself, didn't pick the right TP target. Quartz had the right spacing. Twisted Minds thought they had time and space to poke and prod, and OWCS collapsed on them. Still 63 to 14. Twisted Minds are happy with this. All they need to do is stall the bot as best they can.
Yeah, the wall is going to help OWCS here. I mean, KSA is going to... He might have to pop Annihilation, to be honest. Yeah, he does. It's such an awkward spot for him to be in, although with this wall kind of separating Twisted Minds, there's no chance of course to get an instant kill, but as soon as it fades, that Disruptor shot finds Checkmates. A good angle now for Twisted Minds as OWCS lose control.
So yeah, it's getting isolated, literally getting shoved up against the wall.
Don't let him get a kill!
Wait! Losing Quartz is really rough there.
Yeah, that is exceptionally rough. You can't make like a really aggressive push now on this bot. You had 3 members, so there was a chance there to maybe get it under the bridge, but yeah, a complete reset into the mid now.
Now a neutral point fight, and you'll have Lambda with the overclock versus Quartz, and that first pick could be everything. You're looking towards these Symmetras. You can't dip, dive, and dodge as easily without investing the teleport, and Checkmate will pull the trigger first. Here's the escape.
It's not a fake. Ziad actually stays on this side of the map there, not using the teleport with the rest of the team. There's an overclock now, looking at this corner. Kelex tries for the little peek around, gets body shot, but as long as it's not a kill at this moment in time, they've outlived this overclock from Quartz, and maybe now it's Lambda's chance 15% to go as KSA now. They end up flipping the map as he backs on up this straight.
Like that off angle from Labda, but he doesn't want to overextend either. OWCS, it's going to be barrier for barrier. What difference can Labda make? He's dead!
Labda goes down again. Mid-ult. Yubi scores him with a right click. And there comes tumbling OWCS. Twisted Minds put them in the coffin and sealed it shut.
This is terrible. This is now going to be a checkpoint for Twisted Minds, getting on top of the bridge, and this is deja vu. You have the barrier, Kitsune rush, and everything. Twisted Minds are so good at using a parallel wall to break up the fight in half, and OWCS, they have to focus. They have to come together.
It's what, like you said, so devastating on this point. The rush is going to come in, but there is the wall. Now they can dance. Looking at Kellex right now is Yubi, but he's a little bit too far up. He ends up getting kind of destroyed by Ziad in the front line, who was more than happy to accept that kill. But an overextension there by Ziad does cost him his life. OWCS is still with a player advantage, though. A 4-on-3 is simple. Quartz and KSA try to get picks or try to get away. Labda on the Cassidy even now decides this Sojourn duel is not in his favor.
Just wanting more consistent damage overall, especially with how much Twisted Minds have been hiding away and denying the Sojourn build-up. But speaking of build-up, Checkmate is forming KSA.
Oh yeah, but this wall is going to be just a thorn in the side. Like, look at this. You can just perma-charge on him now. The Annihilation is still ticking on the front line, but same with Ziad's. A nice little relocation there from Checkmate, but he's getting booped away. Heads up play from Astro there to try and dislodge Checkmate, but he escapes nonetheless. Now Quartz on the flank. 3 players looking at him, but he still gets a kill. Make that 2. Quartz with an unbelievable flank. Funny Astro, sit down. Quartz with 4. A team kill for Twisted Minds. A push onto the final stretch.
Have them at their knees, and that means an extension, a lead that grows to 80 meters plus for Twisted Minds, heading to the finish line, going to game 5 shortly, unless OWCS come up with a response, and it's simple ahead by 15% on the Kitsune rush, which could make all the difference. And you already have Ziad trying to step up to deny progress, as you have the Deadeye from Labda that's been unleashed, and it finds Funny Astro before the sound barrier comes out.
Yeah, KSA also falls okay. A quick reset now. Double support ult from OWCS. 97 meters to 14 though. It's a massive lead. They've got 3 minutes to do it in.
Still almost 100 meters. That is massive. OWCS would have to win back-to-back fights. It's a lot harder with Cassidy too to be really mobile vertically when you want to take that bridge fight. And you have to first win this neutral fight. All depends what plays Checkmate can create.
Yeah, double rush. What's required now, but simple. Way too far away. This OWCS fight looks pretty simple on the face of it. But a good disengagement, Twisted Minds is going to put them in a good spot to maybe re-engage with that beat. It hits the ground before Yubi can actually get it though, so a 4-on-4. They trade their sims, and now it's all on these Sojourns to try and be the difference makers. Landon now looking straight at Quartz as he's forced to scurry to the miniature health pack. This distance now the Labda's got on the rest of the team is good for OWCS. Pushing the bot almost the entire time as well. With 2 minutes to go, they've got to be near them perfect.
And you're just not going to be able to keep this going. Kellex should be speedy enough on the rollout. He's last one missing, and Checkmate can teleport forward. Ziad's going to maximize progress while the rest of OWCS sit back behind the pillars in safety. This bear is going to help them push up.
This is such a nice barrier too, because you can dip into this miniature health if you want to. You can dip under here, force people away, but are they expecting this return one? This Annihilation is doing a lot of work in the front line. Forces Ziad to pop his, but he needs support. Whoa, a 180 punch from KSA. The sense of presence there, the presence of mind, ends up killing Landon. The bot is in the middle of the map too, and with a minute to go and an ult bank that looks very barren for OWCS. It's all falling apart, and a map number 5 is what is desired by Twisted Minds.
Twisted Minds stealing the bot mid there means that the next fight is for past the checkpoint. This is to grow their lead even more.
Felix gets headshot there mid-air, slowed down by one of those little turrets. They got checkpoint, forward spawn's unlocked. TP, high noon, all the way back. Yubi, hello, where do you think you're going? Quartz still manages to find a kill though in the chaos of it all. High ground control now for Twisted Minds.
It's less than a minute. OWCS have to play perfect from here on out if they want to close the series in their favor. But Twisted Minds, they want a marathon. They want to go to game 5.
It's a rush available for Landon. But this is looking like an OT. They can trade rushes here, but OWCS are in a good spot. They can just TP, block the exit of KSA. The rush is now on the bot, as Quartz has already found one. A quick denial of checkmate there, who tried to take an alternate angle with that teleport, and now it's Quartz's domain.
And this is game 5, 10 seconds left. Ziad has to save this. Kelix, it's dead.
The bot, I mean, is still moving. Someone's going to have to touch. In fact, they're not going to move it too far. Kelix has to be. It's a 4-man. Can they actually get to the bot? No, they can't. Twisted Minds in yet another map number 5 scenario. Need to win one more before they lock their placement in that grand finals. A map 5 team, to be certain. OWCS, they were just getting run around. Once again, these teleports from Ubi are just so strong. Shutting Labda down with these right clicks as well. It's going back and forth. Quartz with insane overclocks, then Labda, then Quartz. This had to go to a map number 5. It feels like it was pre-written.
Twisted Minds are such a momentum-based team, and this is the perfect game type for them. They full capped against Crazy Raccoon yesterday. This was their map pick. And they just started with 80 meters. And any fight that OWCS won was not matched by a second or third one. They were always missing members whenever they truly needed to keep swimming. And they just drowned under the pressure of Quartz that would take these solo flanks. It took Felix everything in him. And he just gets shoved to 6 feet underground. Quartz, a true playmaker, saving that for Twisted Minds. Get triple digits against the 2 best teams that we have here. It's insane. We go to game 5 to decide who will go to that gold medal match.
Of course, it was going to be a close series with OWCS fans and Twisted Minds in the audience. Flags wielded by both sides. Peaking decibels as well as the echoes around the arena. You're going to hear this stuff from space, no matter who wins here. Twisted Minds and OWCS going to a map 5. Guaranteed EMEA Korea finals awaits. Now Psycho and Jugbuck taken to the stage to decide where they want to go next and how the bands end up going to.
Not the coaching if you would expect to see all those cycles. Not real coach, you need help deciding those maps. And Jungbuck has talked a lot about the impact that Checkmate has had, and just now that he's on a team with them, just his read on the game, how he's been able to kind of make those quick decisions on the Symmetra T-piece to turn it all around for OWCS, but they simply got overwhelmed on Colosseo. But remember, it was back-to-back maps for OWCS, from Atlas to an incredible Circuit Royale full hold from OWCS that brought the series the distance, that had OWCS in the lead up until now. Now it's OWCS with the map choice coming up. It's all down to this, and they need to take all the time possible. New Junk City is something they've picked against GK.
Hybrid, the last map type available. Of course, we could go to something like King. Blizzard World has also been very popular, and I'm just seeing now Blizzard World is the map pick for this final map.
Making sure our bans are locked in. OWCS will ban the Symmetra. So you're forcing the Tracer mirror between Ubi and Checkmate, and Kiriko out for Twisted Minds.
That is such a big ban. That is big cojones on OWCS right now. Banning this Symmetra in a map number 5. Labda, when he played the Tracer on Atlas the other day, it wasn't a world star performance. Definitely a weaker hero of his. So having OWCS ban away the sim now, which is Twisted Minds have used to its full effect throughout the course of the tournament and even the stage as well, putting Checkmate onto a different hero. Something like the Mei wouldn't be too far flung either. I want to see how Ubi responds here for Twisted Minds as they start out on the defense.
As the Symmetra, big part of that Twisted Minds game plan when it came up to beating Crazy Raccoon in that game 5 that we covered yesterday, Jaws, and that was so close. He'll still have the Lucio to get around, but it won't be the Lucio Kiri. It has to be something else, and then the defense could offer a couple flex support. But again, the Tracer mirror, what everyone's been paying attention to, who is going to be the better Tracer between Yubi and Checkmate. This map is quite large. There's a lot of flank angles. How will Yubi take on that pressure? And you would say Checkmate has been overall more consistent on it.
I like this pivot. Okay, Yubi on the Mei instead. Quartz on the Cassidy, no Sojourn. I like the Cass as well. Sojourn, of course, very good at rather long range, mid to long range with those railguns. Cassidy a little bit more focused on that short to mid. It's a perfect point for it as well. Anybody tries to like even TP onto the high ground, of course you've got the combat roll, you've got the Hindenade, so you're very well suited to kind of holding this up height. And the range is going to be decent for you too. Anybody that peeks around those little corners onto the point is going to be in your line of sight for maximum damage. We'll see how Checkmate responds. It looks like a Tracer for now, which is, yeah, going to be tough into the Mei.
Yeah, Yubi, the Mei, I think is fine on this first point. There's some nice tight alleyways to maximize on the Mei wall. Maybe you deny the Baptiste window with the wall temporarily, but I expect to swap later on because Checkmate will go unchecked without another Tracer, I would think.
Unchecked until he gets icicled in the head. He's trying for it. Ooh, he's testing Yubi. He wall it early. Wow, that's an early wall. We're scared of Checkmate. Scared. I mean, Symbol's really low too. I mean, the lamp could come out at any moment in time. I think he may have used it already. Checkmate going extremely low. I mean, he is doing a lot of work right now, making Twisted Mind scared. They have to make a decision at this point. They're going to go for this flank play as they see Landon potentially alone. Wall not available for Yubi right now, so he's just going to use his little legs to go up on the high ground, but they do trade rather poorly, in fact, to OWCS. Losing Landon and Labda really early on. Quartz now just trying not to die against Checkmate. Fancy footwork though, and right round the pillar. Gonna kill Yubi too. Wow, Checkmate is just demolishing this first point. Although dealing with KSA is another beast entirely.
Checkmate is like almost one of the sole survivors, and like I said, he's gonna go unchecked, but with this death ball from Twisted Mind, it's gonna be hard for Checkmate to find these finishing blows unless they can cause enough chaos that Twisted Mind scatter, but they're distancing away so that they can try and just shred OWCS before they get to the objective. This is such an open point that it's gonna be tough to sit on it without Twisted Mind trying to kill you.
And yeah, Checkmate was like benching 4 plates there, easy. I thought he was gonna go for that pulse bomb as well onto Simple, but decides against it in the end. Oh, here comes the overclock from Labda. The wall is in his way currently, so decides to relocate to across the map. Going to make good use of this window on this high ground, but the sound barrier is just too good. Nice swing by KSA as well.
Yeah, Quartz being able to sit on this high ground is going to be a problem for OWCS, and it's not like you have a dive. I don't know if Ziad would... I think this is too long range to employ a diva, so Ziad on the Orisa is just gonna try and take it. You could always rotate top right. It's just such a whole maneuver just to get to the point. Now OWCS have less than half their time bank. They don't have window. They'll just have barrier. That's the only thing that OWCS can really depend on. Oh, Yubi's hiding with Blizzard.
Waiting for people to peek around this corner, but unfortunately for him, it's on the wrong side of things. Wall on the high ground, very defensive. Nicely placed as Simple's able to get away, but not for much longer. Checkmate had his number, postcode, everything, even his SSN as he chases him down. Okay, OWCS, they're on the board. No full hold here.
I wonder if that UB Maywall kind of messed things up. I don't know if Twisted Minds were a little bit split up from that. Either way, OWCS, they just need to barrier engage in and chase down Quartz. He was a little too cozy up on that perch. Costed a lot of time for OWCS to get that done. Of course, you can leave Checkmate on the card to maximize progress. You're not going to have another Tracer to kind of deny that. So OWCS could fight for the high ground, but Twisted Minds are going to decide to hold the low ground to maximize, of course, the value of the Maywall.
They got to go fast, though. This player's going to escape them. High Noon separates the team. They have to go low, but there is an entrance through that miniature health pack. They're flipping the map now. Well, you're kind of happy with this if you're OWCS. You can push people away, potentially. They're actually just fighting in their own spawn. Simple in trouble, though. Ziad brings everybody together with that Terror Surge, as now Quartz. I mean, it's just so easy shooting that Orisa. No shot you're surviving that. He's hitting 100% headshot accuracy, that's no doubt. OWCS deal with the map flip there as they end up pushing this payload further.
Yeah, I like that map flip from Twisted Minds because they were just trying to draw the fight into a good blizzard, into a tight area for the Mei, but this is now a more open part of the map after they failed that, so you need the UB Tracer. Checkmate has been relentless. OWCS on the high ground. They're looking for a good overclock opportunity from Lambda.
High ground control is going to be good for the Ram team. Can't get pushed off though. Oh, that's a good pick.
Oh!
Lambda up on the pipe right now, and Simple's down. And this sound barrier, they need to get value from this. I don't think Lambda's even going to allow them to do that. And by the way, Payload's still moving. Checkmate this whole time has been there. Oh, blink smack double kill. That's a rare one. That's going in the highlight package. Checkmate with a couple. Twisted Minds, they're just getting run around right now. Checkmate playing with his food.
This was the Tracer mirror we were all excited yet worried for, depending on what side of the field you are. Checkmate able to get so much progress. Because UB's been trying to shred tanks, go after supports, but not paying attention to what matters the most, the payload. Now Katya also getting back into the time bank, which is going to help out a lot. They missed out on that point. Now KSA with the annihilation. You got the window from Simple coming up, but Landon is up ahead with that. KSA just going to anchor the corner. They don't have to be aggressive here.
Checkmate looking for a pulse bomb angle. Oh, he spots Astro. It's a bad spot for the Lucio to be in. He's already used his boop as well. But that Sonic Blast, they're doing a lot of work to Checkmate's forehead there. Landon's already down though. And now Ziad trying to escape. Bad spot for the Orisa to be in, but without the heals anyway, there's not a large chance you survive.
So huge for Funny Astro to force the recall from Checkmate, kept him occupied.
Whoa, UB
shredding tanks.
Okay.
Yes, he's dead.
Okay, maybe tried to get him for a really early pulse bomb, but now Checkmate is looking at the back line again. Little mini steal, Simple going super low, forcing the recall of Checkmate there, but I think the damage has already been done. That window came out rather far forward. UB ends up using that pulse bomb, but merely killing the lamp.
Checkmate is so quick, and he knows his pathing between the mini to get behind Twisted Minds. This card sees progress, and they see the end of the map, and this is a good time bank. Funny Astro needs this barrier quickly, or it's going to be too late, and Quartz has no space to operate around the overclock.
Where's the lamp? There it is. Terror Surge in the corner. Sound barrier for Funny Astro saves the day. Quartz has still got this overclock online. Fight, though, is done.
That was so important for Funny Astro to save the team, because Quartz just couldn't deliver on those big kills when he was getting pushed back into spawn. Still a few more fights left for OWCS, still a breath in their lungs, and it's Lambda versus Quartz, and Checkmate with the pulse bomb soon.
Oh, I like this. A very early push here from a Twisted Minds. Lambda sniped out of the skies. Saved his ult, though. Still got one more chance as Quartz nails Landon in the head. There's a minute to go, and they're trying to find these staggers. Kellex he's pretty speedy, but he's getting chased right now by UB across the map.
You have to be careful. They're going to fall back to this corner and play off the Simple. Just even taking damage to get Simple's window is pretty key, but Landon's going to be up first. This could zone them to the back corner. Simple is on the high ground to try and avoid this darn Tracer, and Checkmate, he's hunting.
Abja's got to hit the railgun of the century here. Ends up sliding away and shooting KSA. The window's going to really help, though. Oh, Simple. Wrong place, wrong time. That 180 was sick. UB gets his face torn off as Lambda shows them what they're made of. Overtime push now for OWCS. They've got 15 seconds as Twisted Minds switch to Fast Heroes.
Going after the Kings, and Twisted Minds have to touch. It's the Burrow from Venture. The UB swap last second. KSA's on Zarya.
I like the Zarya pick here, just bubbling UB to keep him alive for as long as possible, but the bubbles are now down, expended. Same with the lamp. These lifelines no longer exist for Twisted Minds. The full cap, inevitable.
So difficult to cap this map. OWCS back on their feet, back on their hands, and we're back into another round with Twisted Minds attacking. This has been Checkmate, who has been insane on this Tracer, getting behind, throwing the pulses, being babysat by Funny Astro, who's done a really good job at babysitting, but Lambda insane with the overclocks as well. Quartz doing his best to keep up. but it's the UB question mark, the UB that has to become the X factor for this team. They hope to win this map.
Oh, that shot was ridiculous. An OT cap. 0 seconds on the clock. But that last point can be devilishly hard to complete. And Aramco side swap. Same comp. Checkmate on Tracer.
OWCS saved that sim ban for last on their map pick to force Twisted Minds to the edge on not their best comp, but one that they've still won with. Twisted Minds may have won the Saudi League Grand Final, but who will get to the top 2 at EWC?
No changes here. I mean, UB not on the Tracer. They're back on the Mei. I mean, the Zarya from KSA looks a little spicy. Probably going back to change now. Yeah, over to the Ram once more. So game plan here. Don't all die to checkmate challenge. And then wall at Ziad off and try and punish.
The icicles from the Mei are solid here, but you really want to use this utility to its max effect, and checkmate is going to get the attention of Twisted Minds and doesn't want to get isolated himself. UB, if someone overextends from either of the lane near the point, this is where the Mei wall can be critical. Cord gets the hunt down.
Beautiful play by Twisted Minds. Oh, Kellex is one as well. Early lamp deploy, and now Landon, you got to be careful. High ground control for Twisted Minds. Labda is 1 HP, sniped by UB. A headshot, but he didn't need it. What a fast push from TM. And this is what you need. You need the pace, you need the snowball with this Mei comp. Taking the high ground early is pivotal here.
Look at the impact that UB has had. He has the most amount of ult charge besides Simple. Getting to the high ground, that was a fun trick. KSA back on the Zarya. Has to be careful how he uses these bubbles for himself to hold the space. To maybe allow Quartz to survive if he's taken too much heat, but Twisted Minds getting through this choke. They'll try to do so with the Simple window. Could just be a zoning tool. There's lots of places to hide for OWCS, but this anchor of the Orisa will squeeze by the Mei wall that was placed.
That's a good start. All right, window placed on the payload. Simple though. That's the 180. Checkmate's just kind of filling in with lead, forces the lamp. Oh, still gets the kill though. Ziad goes down fairly early, despite losing Quartz at the start of the fight. They're still fighting. They're still on an awkward spot of the map. KSA is alone on the point, has got one bubble, can get back to the health pack. But UB is going to arrive with backup, so no chance really here to stop the payload.
It's going to play the low ground fight, but then Twisted Minds are just not going to be able to dictate this fight. It's OWCS that will stand tall and above them, and Labda has the overclock. How many bubbles can you count out of KSA? That's the only thing that can save them.
Well, UB's already dead. Landon is playing so aggro, by the way. Just permanently on top of the tank. Oh, a little pulse. Okay, all good. Hit the wall.
This is Twisted Minds maybe over-believing in this Zarya because they're just not able to really have staying power on this cart with how much damage is raining from above from OWCS.
Astro trying to taxi now up onto the high ground. They've left one on the flank. Here's the Mei right now. As Labda's got the overclock. Actually just falls down low. He has got a slide still, but looking for bodies. Or looking for heads even. Sound barrier from Funny Astro to keep them in the fight. However, a repeat sound barrier from Kellex here. Only gets 4 players as Checkmate still on the wide flank.
Twisted Minds trying to draw the fight down low for this Blizzard to hit. And how about Quartz? Can he hit this shot? He's on the low ground looking for a better angle. Now OWCS, they're playing hide and go seek.
Oh, hits Landon, but that's it. 4 ults, 0 kills for either side as this pushed front line here from Ziad might be in a little bit of trouble. There's a Graviton Surge, and it's behind a window as well, so good luck surviving that. That lamp's gonna get one-tapped. That is checkpoint already. It's 3 minutes on the clock. Kellex Labda down, Landon to follow. This is all OWCS here right now. I mean, they're just getting absolutely demolished. Twisted Minds just running at home.
Twisted Minds just using the cover really well, and the max by just getting good value out of the bubbles to live even while OWCS were on the high ground, and then brought the fight and all the progress to the end where they could just dump all their ultimates, and they're gonna still stick to this UB Mei, but Checkmate is gonna match it, and he's gonna maybe throw this Mei wall behind KSA or on the opposite end behind Ziad. You gotta break this down quick, and Astro has the barrier. That's the extra sustain.
Bro is not Tracer, but still goes for the flank. Pops block super early, spots Quartz near the spawn, can't land the right clicks though. Escorted away by Kellex, who rejoins the rest of the fight. Walls on the front line, but the sound barrier still hits 5. And now the split fight is going to be disastrous for OWCS. The Annihilationist still picks up KSA as Labda finds the off angle. Quartz not looking at him, but maybe you should. Maybe you always been looking at Labda. Funny Astro in the back line. An easy kill for the Sojourn. The hold wolf, he'll be here for now, but the time bank, still 3 minutes here for Twisted Mind.
And Ziad living there to deny progress while Labda frags, that was so key. No momentum generated from Twisted Minds, but they're back again and they have window.
Yeah, they're going to win at the payload again for sure. Just waiting for this wall to go down first. It's an awful angle though, to be fair. But that window actually does tag the inside of the point, so they could wide swing, but yeah, Kellex, perfect response, using that sound barrier to keep space.
And then they could defend with the land-in window coming up. This is crucial time that is going to be taken away from Twisted Minds. And this is a great area for the Blizzard. There's so many options for OWCS to layer this.
He had almost fell over there. That would have been the walls crumbling for OWCS. And like you said, this Blizzard, Wall, Blizzard, El Clasico. Landon almost gets one tap though by Quartz, but it is Labda all day, every day. Oh, there's the Blizzard, straight on top of Checkmate. Yeah, good luck. Good luck, son. Yeah, it's not happening. Nice little piece onto Checkmate. Means they're going to be able to get a nice little flank angle now, do force Ziad of this mega health pack. They're walling off the window, and Ziad tried to retreat to the rest of the team, but Kellex is already down. A block forced onto Yubi, but Ziad just turned to snow there as with a minute and 45. And 2 ultimates in the bank, and support ultimates coming up. Twisted Minds are running at home.
KSA and everyone able to dig out Ziad from contesting the card. 90 seconds, and it's Quartz that needs to build space. The Mei wall will protect OWCS for now, but for how long?
They need to get this under a minute. That is imperative. Window on the point. Overclock through window. Who can stand up to this duress? Ziad taking infinite damage, walled off from the heels as they make their final march on the point. 13 seconds to go before that minute line can be reached, but Twisted Minds will not give it to them. A final attack. A chance for a draw and a 6th map. OWCS need to be perfect, but Twisted Minds get it done with over a minute.
From OWCS being on match point to Twisted Minds staying in their shadow up until this point. And you thought the Tracer mirror was going to go Checkmate sway somehow. We're in a snowstorm between 2 Meis, and it's still anyone's map to decide who will go to the grand finals to help their club and to get ahead in this rivalry that is extended across many leagues, with Twisted Minds getting the last grand final in the Saudi E-League, but OWCS winning every single OWCS encounter.
Psycho elation on his face, 33% is all they need on that first. Not got a lot of time though. 1 minute and 8 seconds, that is 1 fight. These fights take a while. These Mei Ram Brawl comps, they're tough. They are tough to crack. If Quartz can land an opening pick on somebody with a railgun, like he's done over and over and over again, it could be an easy finals place. The gates are open. The final march for Twisted Minds.
Gotta be careful how Yubi uses his wall to try and get to the high ground and access someone like Labda, who's gonna be on the Sojourn. He'll be able to jump away if things get hectic. And Checkmate has been using his walls defensively to deny the entry and the pathing from Twisted Minds. Now Quartz can watch from above.
Just needs that 100 rail energy. Spots a little bit, has got it. Sends one flying towards Landon. Scores a body shot, but has a good angle on Checkmate. He needs attention right now. Yep, Kellex is going to spot him. And in again, going aggro, trying to just chunk people out, using that battle rifle, but it's got to be more careful than that. KSA frozen in the front line, puts the arms up as overtime approaches.
Less than 30 seconds and no ults being really built up. It's Twisted Minds that are living in the heads and trying to take over the real estate of OWCS.
No blocks, no lamp, you be in trouble. Kelix with a back smack. The assassination, the knife to the back. Kelix does end up getting traded though, as KSA very low on the point with no backup. Simple with a wide swing. And we are going to another map. Labda kills another. And OWCS are going to defend. It's going to take a miracle from Quartz. He gets his one as Astro touches for the last time. A recall from Yubi, but it's all over. A map number 6. The TM versus OWCS rivalry extends. An overtime ticks down, and a minute and 8 seconds is not enough to do it in.
Our first draw, our first map 6 of our Midseason Championship. An all-Saudi showdown, and this goes for the gold medal match. With OWCS, like I said, winning all the OWCS matchups, but Twisted Minds have been trading blow for blow. Twisted Minds now listening to the game plan. What will be the OWCS map pick? We'll get it again.
Map pool is open as well, so we can go to anywhere. No Symmetra ban available either for OWCS. A map number 6 with this historic rivalry going all the way. You couldn't write a better script, and I promise you we didn't. We're going to jump to a quick break, give the teams a couple of minutes to decide where we want to go for this final map. We'll see you in a sec.
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists, only on Spotify. The official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
We wouldn't have it any other way. The crowd wouldn't have it any other way. The audience at home wouldn't either. We're going to a map 6. Make no mistake, that scoreline is accurate. First to 3 here as OWCS and Twisted Minds. We're going to a flashpoint. New Junk City. A hazard ban for Twisted Minds. A break for OWCS.
OWCS did pick New Junk City against GK. Did not go their way. Very, very close though. 3-2 loss. But the main win and what inspired confidence from OWCS was the win against Virtus Pro in that quarterfinal. 3-1. So OWCS trying to either force the Diva or the Ramatra mirror once again. Even the Orisa is something they're comfortable with. And now OWCS getting to ban that break first. Of course, you're not going to have as much support for any tracers that could come about, but mainly to keep the Lucio plus whatever secondary support you would typically have, which OWCS is usually the Kiriko.
Lucio's available, Sims as well. So there's going to be a lot more Symmetra play yet again. That Symmetra ban on last map for OWCS was honestly gigantic. Forced Yubi onto the Mei. Played a little Tracer as well, but Checkmate had his number on that. It's going to be a tough battle against Checkmate's Tracer. It's always been exceptional on it. That received about a 50-50 boo and applaud.
I don't think Twisted Minds have seen a New Junk City in this tournament. Not their most picked. So this is the OWCS playground. Now the pressure in the crowd, but these are all experienced players that have been at the World Cup stage, the Saudi stage, the OWCS stage. This is where they thrive. In front of most of them, their home crowd. This is gonna be a banger, and guys, this is just the semi-final.
Yeah, we have Falcons versus T1 after this to lock in another grand final spot. Your mid-season championship. Here we go, though. Let's load on in. Map 6 of New Junk City. Twisted Minds taking on OWCS.
Ooh, I did just notice, just going through the matches, last time the Twisted Minds faced OWCS, obviously besides now, they got 3-0'd on New Junk City. Twisted Minds lost 3-0 the last time they went here, but there was a Symmetra ban employed, so that has a important caveat. Symmetra is free from her shackles. And again, the break to try and help support the Tracer will not be available, so this will be just a mirror of Sojourn's and Symmetra's difference in supports. Just maybe the Juno, just for the speed, but we're a simple lane.
Doors unlocked. Let's make some noise, Riyadh. Twisted Minds and OWCS going to a historic Game 6 in the semis. Ram already taking a significant amount of damage. The teleport to the high ground results in OWCS out-rotating Twisted Minds for now, and there is the first blood. That kunai landing directly on KSA's head, and that should be a first flashpoint take from OWCS.
It'll be a big clash of tanks and how you manage those resources. The Matrix very limited, but a lot more flexible maybe than the block, but KSA just took too much damage too quickly. With the speed from OWCS, just such an aggressive comp. They just reinvented how you play Symmetra. Just allowing Checkmate to charge up and farm KSA during that block is resulting in the first flood, and look how quick Landon has Kitsune Rush too. That's gonna come out very soon.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage, a lot of healing being thrown out by Landon. OWCS probably want to go first. They too have been trying to play as quick as possible. A bit harder with the Ram though, is you need to kind of wait, rotate the Nemesis form cooldowns. But right now, I mean, OWCS, they're just going to be able to just play around this high ground. They're going to threaten to move on in, try and force a CD from TM. But they can play this a little slow.
Yeah, the hand needs to be forced out of Twisted Minds. OWCS are fine sitting here till the cows come home. They're the ones in control. Twisted Minds got to wake up.
TP gonna of course. There's the teleport from Landon, and there's the rush matched by Simple. Despite the lead though, Landon had. They allowed enough time for Simple to build up to that. A touch required now by Twisted Minds. Another teleport up to the high ground, and Quartz caught off guard. Labda takes his down, and oh dearie me, that's 100-0 on first point. Only KSA remains here, and Simple as well. And there you go, first point, OWCS.
Maybe Twisted Minds overthinking that fight a little too much, and we're just waiting for OWCS to make the first move. I'm not realizing that, well, they don't even have to. The ball is in the Twisted Minds court, and it never even swung at it. Then the exchange, Kitsune rushes to no avail, so OWCS with the first point, with 4 other ults to spare and a second life for Ziad on the self-destruct. Although Twisted Minds back on Lijiang Tower is so good at denying that second life.
Yeah, Labda using that overclock. He's got a really good angle as well on the backline. These can penetrate, of course, these shots. Yubi's already down, cowering in the corner, clutching his pearls, trying to get away. Labda finds a double kill. As once again, OWCS, because of that ult advantage, they can just walk on up. Quartz had that ult maybe like midway through that fight, but it was over already.
A streak from Labda, he's on fire. He pulled the trigger first, and Twisted Minds find themselves having to retake again, and through these choke points, D.Va is such a bully at close range, and Zia can even extend. He's gonna be the one that can scout away, and Yubi's gonna try and teleport and get an angle on this point.
Labda's head showed for a brief moment there, but a defensive wall on the high ground, so Quartz has basically nothing to shoot at. Maybe just the mech of Ziad there, tries to peek around it, but now a wall is going to push them forwards onto the point. Now the sound barriers can connect. Can OWCS get a better beat though? Yes, they do. Ziad and Labda saved at the brink of death, and that's another couple of kills. It's all falling apart for Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds, they're living on borrowed time, and the clock is ticking faster and faster.
The execution nearly flawless from OWCS. Like, did they even trump anyone in that fight? Labda, he's so critical. He's accurate. And OWCS get to defend and continue, maybe even 200-0. Twisted Minds have to hurry, and it's Funny Astro that has to touch, and he's on the other side.
Whoa, this is an aggressive support angle, and they can't even get there. They don't even touch.
Disastrous. A miscomm between Funny Astro and where Yubi was teleporting. Whose job was it? The pressure is getting into them. Their minds are twisted.
They're going to find this little skirmish, just quickly go for a reset. They're probably going to try and stagger Ziad, but Ziad pistol whips Funny Astro. Okay, a quick reset is that's 200-0 versus TM. Has the pressure got onto them? They come out with a historic victory versus Crazy Raccoon, not yesterday. And like, now OWCS, they're just running away with this.
First fight is so important to set up your Sojourn on these power positions, and through Twisted Minds, they can't be this slow, but they're gonna play off the Kitsune rush. That's at least an advantage they can work with.
Good TP, but Labs on the high ground with this overclock, looking for bodies. Simple, already tagged. They've got this rush, like you said, but Simple's dead. Ziad with the flank. Reset, reset, reset for Twisted Minds. They have to go again.
This would be the most Twisted Minds thing to make the ultimate comeback. They started out behind in this series. They started out behind on Lijiang Tower before they won that. To force a Game 6, Twisted Minds. They will not give up and not surrender.
There's double support. You just can't lose someone early if you're Twisted Minds. A TP behind, but high ground controlled by OWCS. They've got a wall to sustain themselves through this amplified damage with the rush, but can they actually get onto the point and make it
for
stick?
The win? If OWCS win this fight, it's over.
Nice Nemesis form, but the sound barriers are going to connect. Lab doesn't get the beat, unfortunately, for OWCS. 5-man sound barrier for Twisted Minds. They've got this annihilation, they've got this ult on the point, but Yubi is already dead. That's the ad! What? He even gets a remake kill? Are you kidding? OWCS! As the dust settles, only an echo remains of Twisted Minds as OWCS take us to a map 6 and lock their place in the grand finals at the Midseason Championships.
The new kid on the block of Zia tells Twisted Minds to sit in a sweep, the 3-0 sweep on New Junk City on their map pick. No junk bug crash out needed. This is a team that locked in and locked on to Twisted Minds, the rival for so many stages across all the leagues. Twisted OWCS get to rejoice and step forward into the championship match.
A guaranteed EMEA versus Korea final. An unbelievable come up for OWCS. Even the Korean teams were saying that they are slightly scared. This sim comp from EMEA, El Clasico, has reared its head again on an international level. They have what it takes to go all the way. And if this is how far this series has gone, this finals, it's not going to be easy for T1 or Falcons.
They looked unbeatable until this moment. Twisted Minds will step down into the third place match for a chance at bronze against either T1 or Team Liquid or Team Falcons.
We're going to jump down to the stage. I believe Fancy has got an interview for us with the victors.
We're ready. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We are back on stage with OWCS. That was such an entertaining match to watch. OWCS takes it to the grand final, and they make history right here. OWCS grand final, the first Saudi team ever to do it. I have so many questions for you. So for our first question, you guys respected Twisted Minds comp in Symmetra. You guys played the mirror match up until the end, but then you had to ban it in map 5. Tell me the thought process behind it.
أول شيء أول ماب بندنا رام، حسبنا ميسم تشتغل، لكن راحوا زاريا يعني سواب منهم كويس. بعدين رحنا رام، قلنا نقدر نفوز بالميرور، لكن خسرنا ماب كوليسيو، قلنا ليش ما نبند سم؟ قلنا بندنا سم خسرنا.
So that wasn't part of their thought process in the beginning. They decided to ban it on the spot when Twisted Minds were able to meet them in the mirror match. But now you guys are literally the first team ever to make it to an OWCS grand final. You're the first, you and Ziad and all of your Saudi teammates are the first Saudi players to make it to an OWCS grand final. How do you feel?
صراحة شعور مرة حلو لأن تيم سعودي ولاعبين سعوديين وبطولة سعودية، بإذن الله نمثل الوطن ونفوز بالكاس.
We have Saudi players and they are a Saudi team, and we're honored to be in the grand final for OWCS. But you know what this means. You just won an elimination match and you will be able to crush your opponent's key. But that's not just any opponent, that's your ex-teammates. So how do you feel?
صراحة شعور غريب شوي، لكن مش أسوي لازم أفوز.
He's like, I'm feeling weird a little bit, but at the same time, I have to win this. So are you ready to crush the key?
Yes.
All right, let's go crush Twisted Minds key. They were able to win against Crazy Raccoon, but not quite enough to break the win streak versus OWCS. This is a big moment for the Saudi fans. We'll have Labdah enjoy it. Twisted Minds, he's waving away as he crushed his ex-teammate's key. Congratulations once again, you guys are going for the grand final. We'll have you rest and celebrate with the rest of the team. But for now, let's go back to Puckett for our analyst studio.
Thank you, Fancy, and commiserations to the Twisted Minds fans. What a match as we see our first Game 6 of the entire weekend, and it happens to send their opponent to the grand finals. OWCS clutching up, and I asked you right away, Jake, I said, who deserves your MVP award? Is it landed on the Baptiste? you said, no, it's got to be Checkmate.
Look, Checkmate's flexibility was unmatched. He came out on the Tracer, was huge, I think, on Blizzard World, had great performances across the maps, matched Yubi's May. I think that for sure was not planned. It was something he just felt in the moment, and it was the right read. It got them through to the end of the series. And flexibility, that was the name of the game for OWCS. When it came to the mirror match, it was very much back and forth, but I think also Ziad, the young player out of Saudi Arabia, was able to play the D.Va, and that was critical on map 5. Yubi just couldn't get the Symmetra rolling against that highly mobile tank.
On that final map, it wasn't even close. Twisted Minds, 0% to 300% on the other side. What was the difference maker on...
It honestly was Ziad's D.Va. We talked about it pre-game, and it was a big factor going into that map 6 because it completely changed the pace of the game. And I think we saw on that first point specifically, Twisted Minds, they were hesitating, they were building ultimates, and it was all because they were really scared, of course, of the opposing Kitsune Rush, but they were scared of Ziad's D.Va. D.Va brings that explosiveness, and you have to be very cautious. When you step up, you gotta be ready for the Symmetra teleporter coming and the D.Va going for that final blow that kicks off the entire fight. So Ziad's D.Va, it really scared Twisted Minds, and it looked like they were on the back foot that entire map.
Jake, I felt like we were just 1 minute away from having a different winner in this series. At the end of Blizzard World, you saw the hold. It ends in a draw. How close were Twisted Minds?
That was a question of just inches, man. I mean, I was really impressed with their ability to lock it down, have such a solid attack on third point when, you know, OWCS probably knew, look, all we have to do is get it under a minute here. Let's secure ourselves another shot in overtime. But, I mean, Twisted Minds were just relentless. They give themselves the chance to just win the series outright. But it's that incredible, solid first point defense. Once again, Checkmate just makes the read. You know what? I'm feeling the May here. And, like, his intuition about the right hero to play was immaculate. I think as somebody like Junkbug is probably going to be so happy with Checkmate. Great reads throughout the match, great strategic vision. They're going to need that, though, if they want to take first place and secure the championship here at Overwatch.
In just a moment, we'll be joined by Kellex from our winning team. He, of course, is making his way over from the STC Arena. And while we wait on Kellex, let's take a look at Map 4, because going into Map 4, this was, of course, a 2-1 lead for OWCS. How did Twisted Minds force the Game 5? What did we witness?
Well, I think it was a lot of momentum here gained from Twisted Minds. Quartz was popping off on the Sojourn, as you're seeing right now. And that was a big difference maker. Colosseo, it's one of those maps where if you win one of those fights in the middle of the map, you can establish some high ground and fight the defense on level playing field. And I think Twisted Minds early on in this map, they established that dominance. And when you're like behind on a push map, it's really hard to reclaim that lead, because then the leading team, they can play with their food. They can dictate what fights are we taking, what ultimates are we going to utilize, and how do we put our opponent in a really tough spot.
Right.
And the Twisted Minds, not only did Quartz pop off and have an amazing Sojourn performance, I think they were really wise the way they were dictating the pace of the game.
Got to give it to Simple as well. I mean, this guy really impressed me this year across the board on the flex support. You know, although he won't be taking the championship today for Twisted Minds, I think that's a player that someday is going to be lifting a trophy. He's someone I've had my eyes on all year. The flex support has been immaculate. Young player out of Korea playing here in the Twisted Minds squad, but I could see him on many world-class teams being that, maybe one of the best flex supports in Europe. I mean, really toe-to-toe with Landon this whole series.
It was a great matchup on both sides of the stage. At the end of 6 games, we have OWCS walking away with the W. They will be our first team playing in the grand finals. And we have another semifinal coming up in just a little bit. Before that, though, a special guest is going to be joining the studio. While we load some highlights up, we will get Kellex sat on the couch. And Johnny, let's take a look here at the game that did draw, because this was our first draw of the entire week. We've been here 4 days. First time we saw it.
Yeah, this was a really exciting matchup, actually. Because of the Symmetra ban, you saw both teams play a hit scan and a Tracer. Obviously, some May in there as well. Ziad over on the Orisa, a bit of a different matchup here. And both teams had an easy time with point A, point B. Jake, I feel like this map was kind of decided by point C, actually, because these corridors made it really difficult for OWCS to get any kind of momentum with the Tracer, and instead you saw Twisted Minds really comfortable playing the May. It was an amazing matchup there on the point C.
Yeah, Quartz came out big to make this one possible. I also saw Checkmate got a double melee kill in one melee, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that since I started playing Overwatch like almost 10 years ago. So really just a day of incredible results here.
Twisted Minds getting the effort in overtime, but it is the hold from OWCS. And now to talk to us about it live, we have the man all the way from Denver, Mr. Kellex. How are we feeling today, buddy?
Relieved.
Relieved? Relieved?
Yes.
Tired?
That was a long game, and
Wow, that felt great, winning that after all those maps.
Did you know you did 67,000 damage on a support?
No, I mean, I don't really look at the stats too much, only to
That was
full
ridiculous. All right, so Kellex, for those who don't know your career path, how did you land on OWCS? How long have you been at this level in Overwatch?
I want to say 7 years, but yeah, it's roughly around there. And then at the beginning of this year, I was not on a team, and then Lepte from OWCS reached out to me, asking me if I wanted to join them for Stage 2, and I said, yeah, why not?
And I think they're very happy you said yes. Some crucial plays during this final game. Talk to me, though, about the Game 5. What were the comms when you found out there were 9 seconds left on the clock and TM was going to get one more shot on you on Blizzard World?
Yeah, we were talking about having to get it under 1 minute, but we tried our hardest, and then suddenly they had 8 more seconds, and we failed, and I was like, oh, no way, it's going to slip away from us. But we did a good hold on in the overtime and won the map 6, easily.
Yeah, talk to me about the D.Va then going into map 6, because we talked about it already here on the desk. Very even matchup. You go to map 5. You banned the Symmetra, actually, which caused that entire situation in the first place. But then map 6, New Dunk City, this was just night and day. And Ziad's D.Va, you guys were just playing this composition flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean, we always had the D.Va comp in our head if we really wanted to. I think the previous map, we talked about it, but we didn't want to commit to it yet. And then on this map, we knew that D.Va comp is better, at least for us. So we thought, why not just play it here? And as you can see, it worked really well.
It did work, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a massive moment for you guys. I also noticed one thing throughout the series from your Lucio. I felt like you got a lot of the better sound barriers in the match, like getting that second sound barrier, a lot of those fights. As soon as I see your beat come down, I'm like, oh, they already won. Like, that's perfect timing. How do you guys create that situation where you're kind of always in the sort of tactical advantage? I feel like I see that always from OWCS. You guys always have the last word in terms of ultimate.
I mean, I think it's just because we have better neutrals. We really drilled that comp for many weeks, months. So I think I always want to have the second beat, and I tell that to my team. So we always, have really good neutrals, and then I can make sure that we have the better beat and end up winning a fight.
So talk to me, Kellex. 2024 World Finals. I did an interview with you and the Ents, and we talked about what it would mean to win a championship. And back then, you talked about it, and you said, this could be my last chance. This World Finals could be my last chance. And now you get picked up by OWCS mid-year, and now you qualified for the grand finals.
You're one away, bro.
You're one away. What does this mean for you, and how are you feeling going into that grand finals later today?
I mean, it means everything to me. In my whole 7 years of playing this game professionally, I've never won anything major. So yeah, finally being in a grand final, I really want to win it all, because then I can look back and actually be satisfied. At the end, I finally got that one trophy that mattered the most.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket, because your job is done for now, but you'll be taking the stage again in hopefully about 3 or 4 hours. OWCS, our first team to advance to the championship match, will be playing the winner of T1 or Falcons coming up next. Who would you rather play? Are there any rivalries brewing on this stage?
I mean, I would prefer to play Falcons, but that's because they play similar comps to us, and I think we have the most experience against those. I also think they're weaker than Twisted Minds, to be honest, in the sim comps. But T1, they have some interesting dive comps, especially Donghak on the Doom. He is absolutely crazy. So I'm worried if we play against him, he might go crazy.
Kellex, I've been a fan since the first 2 years of the Overwatch League. It is fantastic to see you here in 2025 playing for a championship in Riyadh.
Thank you.
That is Kellex. We're going to go let him celebrate with this team. When we come back, we have our second semifinal. T1 is taking on Falcons. If you're enjoying the show, download the EWC app. It's free. Go get it right now. See you on the other side of this commercial break.
Search flank. 쏟아. I'm sitting tight. Lab them with you. All back enemy. Say one. Someone. I can. Say one. Nice. Up two. Only two. Third one. Nice.
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists, only on Spotify, the official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
Welcome one and all to the Esports World Cup. It's here for the Midseason Championship of Overwatch 2, and we're about to see the Falcons enter the STC Arena here in our Jamil Motorsports arrival cam. Falcons looking for their first tournament win of EWC if they want to go back-to-back as club champions, and they have a great opportunity. We welcome Rocket into the studio alongside Avril and Jake. Rocket, you played fantastic for Sign Esports. You guys made it into the top 12, almost made it into our bracket. How was your experience here in Riyadh?
And so pleasant, man. I mean, I've never been to a tournament of this capacity, of this just grandiose. Like, it's honestly amazing. And, you know, playing against these international teams is something I've never experienced. And I'm going to learn so much. And, you know, it's great.
It's a big budget weekend. And as we take a look at how much money has been dispersed already, your team is walking away with $20,000. But the winner of this match is guaranteed $180 and in the running for the $400K. We got T1, we got Falcons. Who has the bigger fan base so far, Rocket?
Well, here, it's got to be Falcons, right? I mean, the Falcons fans in the crowd, you know, Saudi Arabian organization, they let you hear it. They let you hear it. And I speak from experience, you know, playing against Twisted Minds. It definitely plays an impact. And I hope T1 doesn't, you know, listen to the crowd too much because, in my opinion, I think they're a better team. But, you know, with the Falcons fans, with the, you know, stage buff, I think they could make it really, really close.
I love to see how young some of the Falcons fans are celebrating at the end of last night. It wasn't an easy win, though, Avril. They had to go to a Game 5 against North America's top team in GK.
Yeah, GK did play quite well in Falcons. You could potentially call that one a struggle, but I still think Falcons, where they did win, looked very strong. Where they did lose, though, might be a little bit concerning. When Prober can't play that Tracer, that's exactly the 2 maps they didn't get. But the Tracer maps that they did play, the 3 ones they won, were absolutely amazing. Falcons right now are still a team that can play the sim meta if they want to, but it does seem like they're starting to move away from that one. But they are still, in my opinion, a strong favorite.
Jake, if you're looking for an early MVP for the Falcons, who could help them power into the grand final?
I mean, for me, I'm looking a lot at Merit. I think Proper's had a very huge tournament, especially on the Tracer, but a lot in this meta, I think, comes down to the hit scan. Especially you go to that sim comp, you're giving yet more resources often to the hit scan player and really expecting them to pop off and carry.
Right.
Few players, I think, can perform as well in a clutch moment under incredible pressure compared to Merit. I mean, this guy, he just doesn't let the pressure get to him. He continues to deliver no matter what. We saw that in the Game 5 they played on Blizzard World yesterday. Just icy with it on the Sojourn.
Reminder, it was Merit and someone for Toronto Ultra that made it to the grand finals representing North America last year. Now in Falcons jerseys, they have an opportunity to walk away with some serious cash. And I'm talking a bonus $50K. Why is that? Well, we have a Jafonzo Award available here. Something so rare at EWC, you have to go all the way from the LCQ to raising a trophy.
That's right. Falcons, unfortunately, they didn't qualify through Korea, but they did make their way through LCQ. They beat Zeta Division 3-0, I might add. And again, a favorite to potentially win this entire tournament. They would not only give Falcons their much-needed title win to enable them to potentially get the club championship, but then also the Jafon's Award on top of that.
If you ask the folks at home who is the best, they'll probably say the DPS is the flashiest, but the real core is the support. We talked to Chio before the game.
What's up, everybody? I'm here joined by Chio from Team Falcons. Chio, semifinals against T1. What are your thoughts? 자, 준결승전 T1과의 경기가 있습니다. 좀 어떠실 것 같으신가요?
우선 T1이 이번 한국 경기에서 2등 했었던 팀이었는데 이제 이런 큰 대회에서 준결승에서 만나게 돼가지고 같은 한국 팀으로서 기쁘면서도 많이 긴장되네요.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy that T1 climbed all the way up here, knowing that they are the second team from Korea to come up. So as a fellow Korean, I am very happy to face off against them. Now, talking about T1, I know that Donghak from T1 was also your former teammate. So does that even make you, I guess, want to win a little bit more? 자, 방금 이제 T1 얘기가 나와서 여쭤보고 싶은 게 동학 선수가 또 예전에 같은 T1이었잖아요. 그것 때문에 조금 더 이기고 싶은 마음이 좀 더 생기시는지.
아무래도 이제 하기는 좀 요즘 들어 많이 잘해가지고 경기도 되고 무서운 선수긴 하지만 꼭 이제 지고 싶진 않네요. 절대로 지고 싶진 않네요.
알겠습니다. I mean, I know that Donghak is a great player. He improved so much, and of course, yes, we were former teammates. And I just want to say, I really hope that I don't lose against him and against T1 as well. All right, Chio, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
All smiles from Chio here, but on the other side of the stage, he is going to have his hands full with a very tough opponent, a team that has been flawless in the desert. Team 1, now sporting an 8-0 record, Jake. Are they the juggernauts Falcons have been waiting to take on?
I mean, Puckett, they're such an X-Factor team because they barely played. They just won 8 maps. They didn't lose any. They have been racing through the bracket so far, but this is a very different opponent. We see them arriving now on our Jamil Motorsport arrival cam. Players looking confident, ready. They're backed by one of the biggest, most storied organizations in esports. And yet, as you were saying, Rocket, they're going to be playing up against that home field advantage. They're such a unique team in how they play. We haven't seen that much of them. Puckett, this is one of the hardest games to call I've ever seen.
60 seconds to the stage, which means I need all of your predictions. I'm starting with the man who played in the competition and knows these guys better than anyone else. Rocket, who walks away with the dub.
I think if the Falcons fans are loud enough, it can be, I think they'll force it to a map 5, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a T1 3-2.
3-2, T1 in a game 5.
So hard to call. 50-50 for me. I think Falcons are on a bit of a run right now. T1, I don't know if they've been truly tested. They're looking amazing. I'm going to go 3-2 Falcons with the experience on their side.
Jake, you got 20 seconds.
I truly didn't think about this spread before time. I just couldn't come to a decision. But now, sitting here, I got to put my faith in the man, the myth, the legend, Chete Man. I got to believe in Merit. I think Falcons got this.
Falcons are going to the championship match to keep their hopes of an EWC Club Championship alive. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. It's time for the second semifinal.
Yes, yesterday we saw a massive upset on this very stage when Twisted Minds crushed the keys of one of the teams, the best teams to ever touch the game.
Absolutely, and our next match could see a similar shakeup. Because as you guys know, it is going to be the old guard versus the new. And this really does feel like a start of a new era for Overwatch 2.
It really does, I couldn't agree more. And we will be continuing in that very fashion in our second semi-final match. There's former teammates clashing. There is a lot of personalities on the server with something to prove. So I'm very excited to get this one started. Let's bring out our first teams. It's the Young Guns looking to topple the Kings. Make some noise for T1.
And their opponents, a star-studded Korean super team, eager to continue their reign with an added crowd buff. It's Team Falcons!
One team is defending their legacy, the other is here to build one of their own. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Zoe and Fancy. It's Mitch Leslie and Matt Morello in the booth for this second semi-final matchup. We have Falcons who've had to fight tooth and talon every step of the way to make it to a game like this. And their opponents, Matt, were a team that, at least here in Riyadh, have made perfection a habit.
Yeah, and every time we've seen Falcons, it seems like they kind of get pushed to the limit. T1, the complete opposite. They have just been destroying everybody that they have gone up against. This is another level, though, right? For T1, go up against, one of the best teams in the world, obviously, in Falcons, a team from their region. And there's some bad blood on the stage.
Yeah, I don't know if it gets talked about very often, but, we heard Chio share some words about Donghak on the other side of the stage. Well, I can tell you is that relationship was not always harmonious. I'm certain Donghak is going to be very pleased to have the opportunity to take his old teammates, veterans, who players that he looked up to for a long time and maybe still does, to task here in front of a hostile crowd. It's definitely a Falcons-coded arena.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Twisted Minds, Falcons, OWCS, just loads of fans here for those teams. But T1, regardless of the crowd, they have not been phased through any of their games yet to drop a map through groups in the early rounds of the bracket. I mean, if you do something like that to Falcons, I don't know how you could pick anybody other than T1.
Absolutely. It's easy to get on the T1 side, seeing their run through this tournament so far. The Falcons obviously have to fight through a 5-map affair against GK, the representative from North America. I mean, not only have these Titans shown that they're fallible in the past, I mean, this year they've shown that they can be toppled. Whereas in 2024, Falcons were the team. They were the talk of the town, and they were dominant in the matches that mattered.
And they went to 5 with Weibo during the group stage, right? Another Game 5 there for Falcons. So it has not been easy. This team also had to battle through the LCQ, right? Which was a bit surprising to everybody. They make quick work of the teams in the LCQ.
There is indignity associated with being Falcons and having to fight through the LCQ. You know that smarts for them to think on. And the history for these two, Matt, they kind of dodged each other in the Korea playoffs, right? They didn't really come near one another. They played, I think, in week 3, and it was a 5-map series that ended up being a Falcons win. So when you see these two teams pitted against each other, you can probably throw the history book out here, wipe the slate clean, and have an open mind.
How many times can you go to 5 and come out on top, though, right? I know you've done it twice in this event. You've done it in the past in your home region. You always kind of clutch out those Game 5s. You'd like to see them put people away a little bit faster, a lot like T1.
The headsman's axe has given the Falcons a close shave on more than one occasion in this tournament. There's no mistake in it. In fact, these two teams' roads to this game couldn't be any more different. But there's something to be said for being tested, pushed to your limits, and really galvanized over the course of a tough run. Busan is actually our first map in this series. I feel like this one less commonly for sure.
I feel like we've only seen Lijiang Tower and OWCS in our games, so get a chance to see some Busan here early on. Now, it looks like the bans here, Falcons will get rid of the Kiriko, and then T1 going to get rid of Tracer. So right off the rip, getting rid of proper Tracer.
These backlines are going to be fun to discuss. It's Geo and Fielder, world champions in their own right. Winners, of course, of EWC last year. Up against Skewed and Vigilante, two players who absolutely drew their fair share of regard but never reached the same kind of heights, right? They were appreciated in a more niche kind of way, favored for certain picks. Skewed's your Break, for example, his stint on the Gladiators, I think, drew a lot of eyes to him. And Vigilante really got around in some of those teams towards the end of the OWL era.
And it feels like between those two and then Donghak, these players are kind of like hitting their peaks right now, right? Like, we've seen these players on numerous teams over the last few years, and it feels like, though, now is the opportunity where they are kind of ascending in the region, in the world, with an opportunity to take down Falcons. And also, I mean, Proud and Zest have been nasty here at this event.
Yeah, Zest, of course, with the legacy coming from that Soul Infernal team, who carried the legacy of the Philadelphia Fusion in always kind of being that second place team. And I hate to say it, but that continued into the playoffs there in Korea, right?
Yeah.
These guys still carry that burden of always being the bridesmaid. And that won't be answered in this kind of game. T1 have to go all the way to finally shake that off their back. But they're in prime position, and someone I'm looking at very closely is going to be Proud. He's the up-and-comer, he's the new blood, the one that's really fighting to prove himself after an extended stint in contenders on the multiple teams, notably Poker Face. He's one that, alongside Zest, are going to have to take it to another level to really try and match this DPS line on Falcons.
Yeah. And Fancy and Zoe talking about it in the intros are like, you know, maybe it's a new guard. If Falcons were to lose here, right, it really is. Like, we haven't had haven't had an OWCS event end in any other way than Falcons Crazy Raccoon. With both of them being out here, I mean, that would be a really interesting scenario. Not just for this event, but even looking forward, as we finish out the OWCS year.
And we were dimly aware of teams like T1, Zeta, Division, sort of making their way into the wings there, of course, over in South Korea, but they never were able to put themselves in the international events, right? There were 2 slots, and they were almost always taken up by Crazy Raccoons and Falcons. So they finally made it here. Now they really have to make the most of the spotlight.
Yeah, and we're just waiting for the teams to get ready on stage, where you actually get a snapshot there of Fleta, the coach there for T1. Just kind of legendary player.
And of course, we have a result over at PUBG Mobile here. Yangon Galactus taking victory over there. A fantastic result live from the Kadia Esports Arena. And we are, of course, getting the Championship Sunday in a number of different games around the grounds here at the Esports World Cup. So with PUBG decided, many eyes are turning in the direction of Overwatch 2.
There's a lot of confetti there. PUBG.
That stuff is very slippery, by the way.
Yeah.
You've got to be if you have if you walk on stage after that, you need to be very ginger about it. We are moments away, folks, from jumping into our second semi-final. Only one Korean juggernaut can compete in our grand final of the Midseason Championship. And we're here to decide the small issue of whether it will be T1 or Team Falcons representing.
I think it's a big issue with T1. I mean, just the idea of them kind of running through everybody in a scenario where they don't drop a game would be incredible. They would have to deal with Falcons in a fashion we never really see anybody deal with Falcons, right? In a 3-0 scenario. Proper not going to be able to play the Tracer here early on. Curious what will get comp-wise from these teams. It looks like we're going to get Falcons here with the Venture Soj, and we're going to see Malga come out and how do you even build up a railgun that fast to take out Skewed? Merritt just deletes him right off the rip.
There's something we're going to track over the course of this game. Malga is absolutely a sponge for this damage, and as Sojourn, you can farm rail after rail off
Merritt, though.
Proud here, already working the fringes of the map. Merritt being punished for his early hubris now, putting T1 at a potential advantage. They've already moved down to the point to begin this cap. Falcons still want to get their ducks in a row, but they are going to dip a toe on the point to contest. Immortality field cleared, though Proud has been pretty sharp on many of these bolts coming across the map, just mindful of Proper encroaching on his space.
Yeah, and the kill that Merritt gets happens so fast. There's not an opportunity to take the point as Donghak extremely low, has to use the cardiac overdrive early.
And it's going to give him a lot of healing, though. Someone wasn't even there to be charged through. Donghak is going to make use of that ability now in the aftermath to get around behind Merritt. Still not capping the point quite yet, and Merritt is definitely threatening. Good stop, and that's the finish for Donghak. Couldn't have asked for much more, and Merritt had nowhere to go.
Now we'll see Falcons decide to make some changes. That's T1. It took a little bit, but they're able to flip that point. So no more venture here for Proper. Gonna go play the Reaper. So Reaper can get right in Volga's face, cause a ton of problems.
The Wraith Walk is important though. Proper needs to save it for when that shoulder charge comes in. If he gets stomped by the Malga, he's gonna be picked up and he won't be able to fulfill his job as a tank buster in this composition. Fielder here with an air matrix in play, but can't really play around it comfortably. This is awkward. That's been destroyed, but Donghak eventually gets run over by this Reaper-based composition. Zest, though, would like to have something to say about it, but without Proud, it's going to be a long climb up a steep incline. Zest knows he's cooked, and it might be trying to switch it up here for T1.
I mean, they did everything to try and keep Donghak alive, right? The immortality field, the amp matrix healing, and then a sound barrier, and not able to do so. And I agree with you. I thought we may have seen them decide to make a change, right? With the Malga still being a little bit of a sponge, but potential cage fight, Tectonic Shock action coming in here shortly.
We've got a bit of everything. Here's the overclock for Merritt, though. Again, Donghak is going to be a sponge to much of this damage. Merritt having to make use of that just to chunk the enemy tank nice and low. Proper goes deep, though. Actually has to Wraith walk away. This could be a little bit risky now if there's a charge that comes in from Donghak. Field had an immortality field, and it's an annihilation in play here for Falcons now, stifling any further aggression from T1.
And that's a Tectonic Shock. Zest ends up trying to use it there as players are pushing in through that choke. He gets killed right away, and Falcons ends up taking the lead.
Bowler shot here for Proud. Not a whole lot to combo with outside of maybe a cage fight to tie a couple of players closer together. But Proper might be more than happy to be caught in a cage fight right now with the Death Blossom at the ready. Dom comes in, there it is, Proper with the proper response. Comes in with the Death Blossom now, but it's enough healing to keep T1 alive by the looks of things, and there's a Bowler shot held onto by Proud. Now someone under extreme duress, Nemesis form expiring, and so does his life force. This should be T1 in a position to touch, but it's pretty risky playing into this amp matrix from the high ground, and they've been cut down to size. Sharp shooting by Fielder as Proud is down.
Yeah, you have skewed here as well. Donghak's going to come back on the ball, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Even with some of those kills for T1 to flip it, it's a really risky play there by Fielder to end up using that amp matrix, but pays off.
Okay, Vortex going to tuck Donghak back to earth. It's going to be a sound barrier drawn out from Skewed here. Chio already had one of his own. Proper has an opportunity to work the backline here, and Proud has to step up to force him back. Proper will acquiesce. Happy to play the low ground now as we're at 97% and counting for Falcons, and Proper can simply wait. Find a flanking angle. He hears likely. Zest quite close by. And there's going to be a touch at some point here from T1. And Zest then has to step up, but Proper was in hot pursuit, and now we'll push him on the point. Donghak with a power driver. Merritt caught out. Still gets a rail in the direction of the wrecking ball, but not enough to draw any concern from Donghak. Drops to the point. There's going to be a contest, but Proper's healthy, and Zest has to drill rush away. No momentum for Donghak as he tries to swing, and eventually you've got to face the music. You've got to face down the Hellfire shotguns, and Proper is quite pleased about having his opponents come to him this time. First round, Team Falcon signed and sealed.
See when Donghak is trying to swing there on the wrecking ball, the Vortex from Ramatra just slows down, kills all momentum, not able to get sky high for a pile driver. Take a look at some of the highlights. Started off pretty decent, but once Proper went to the Reaper, there's so much pressure onto this Malga, not able to keep Donghak up.
And at one point you call it out. T1 do everything they can to keep Donghak alive. Every
this fight right here thrown in was crazy, right? Fielder able to use that amp matrix on the high ground, kills Proud, and then just have one more player down below. Vigilante not able to get there and touch the point. So that ends up giving them a point for the extended period of time. All right, so we're going to see someone on D.Va here. So they're going to take a page out of OWCS's book, play the D.Va with the Sim.
Yeah, this comp looking to be the flavor of the month right now. Looked very good in that previous match. T1 though, a bit of a different tilt of this. Donghak going to start on the signature wrecking ball. tricky here to try and keep pace with Falcons as they teleport across the map and assume this high ground early on. T1 more interested in playing close around the point here or work this corner. Merit has to be careful of the wrecking ball, but the flashbang is a decent way of limiting the mobility of the enemy tank.
Proud just trying to take this angle here on the Freya. You can find any of these kills from above. A few explosive shots go in. Some damage down on the Proper, but Proper's going to take out Skewed.
Yeah, not enough there from Proud. Not enough pressure put down on Falcons. Needs more of those direct hits, and Donkak lacks the support there. The wrecking ball is dealt with, and Falcons definitely seek themselves in the correct composition to go up against what T1 are trying to throw at them.
I mean, Zest barely makes it out there with his life as Falcons gets control of the point. Double support all coming up. Look how, I mean, between Fielder and Chio, just lapping Vigilante and Skewed here at the moment. A little bit harder with how spread out T1 is to build up that healing.
It's a massive gap, man. Someone shows that he can play anything, literally anything, but that's a good pick, a good way to start the fight. Merit's off the field. Now Donghak can start rolling into these backlines with greater impunity and less concern about the hindrance of the Cassidy. Prob's in trouble, and Chio's going to commit a sound barrier to this fight. Falcons want to hold on to the point, but there's a bowler shot here for Proud that is audacious from Fielder, and it pays off. Nobody doesn't like him. Gets rid of Proud, but there's more work to be done, and with Proper having been felled earlier on, the gambit for Fielder unfortunately, it just pales in comparison to the impact that T1 have over most of the fight. Vigilante, though, was finally toppled.
And they still have Chio here to maybe get a touch, so they should extend it for a little bit longer. Somewhat now it gets to the point. Actually, a tectonic shock here, going to break that immortality field.
That still has to be careful about playing on this corner.
They have everybody back.
Yeah, they just flipped the point to T1, so happy to drag this fight a little bit longer, but there's going to be a sim wall in play. Zest can, of course, go under or over, as seems to be the case. Big connection there with the drill rush, and Proper is out of the game for the time being. Fielder the next target for the Venture by the looks of things, and Merit doesn't have a whole lot to shoot at right now. Fielder was dealt with. Self-destruct triggered for someone. He can't get to Merit's aid right now, and no defense matrix to stop the ball's damage. Now eyes over to Chio, but he doesn't really have any interest in staying in this fight. T1 have done enough here, Matt, to stay in control.
Yeah, and someone will get taken out late here on the Baby Diva, so we'll see T1 regroup yet again. Now T1 has a pretty sizable advantage, right? With that sound barrier, use it to maybe engage. See how they decide to use it here. As Donghak on the ball, being a bit of a nuisance, right? Trying to go through those TPs, making it hard.
Yeah, or at least just maybe preventing some players from getting through the TP, causing some spacing that's bad for T1. Merit with a Deadeye. Got to be dodged away from by most of T1, but in doing so, Vigilante puts himself in harm's way. Zest at no risk of being knocked off the map. He's got the mobility to sort of right his course, but Proud was forced out of the fight. Was only able to find Shield. He's going to have to hope it's enough. A trade. Mutual kills there. Zest and Merit go after each other as Proper is dealt a death blow. And with a flip there midway through the fight, and Merit with confidence to beat a Lucio. Falcons were sticking.
T1 decides to hold onto their amp matrix, and I'm curious if T1, because Donghak is so fast, you have a window here where someone is going to be coming off a spawn. They decide to amp the pace just a little bit. It looks like they'll actually get Donghak onto the point.
They get a window, pops is, and immediately all the Falcons appear in their midst. T1 are making it competitive though. Zest was able to still fight his way towards Fielder. I mean, this plays into T1's strategy somewhat. Falcons have to group up to play through this TP. They've got to go as 5, and if Venture is there, they are very good at capitalizing on clumped opponents.
And that's a scenario that you can only make work with the Wrecking Ball, right? Donghak able to make it back to the point so much faster, especially when someone dies a little bit earlier before. Is now Proper's going to go over to the Venture, so they decided to ditch the sim altogether.
This changes the game plan somewhat for Falcons. Now someone's going to be more mindful of doubling back and helping the back line. Proper on the Venture. Pretty simple game plan. Get to the back line, pressure the Baptiste, knock him out of his own immortality field, and get him off the map early.
Nice
beautifully just around the corner. It's like watching Wanted. Self-destruct here for someone, but it's a bit superfluous. He can only get back in the mech and basically have it stripped from him straight away. Out he comes again, and T1 have done it here. They force Falcons off the sim comp, they take the round.
I think that ball comp definitely gives them some trouble, right? You're trying to get everybody through these TPs, whether it's just a roll in to put some damage down, right? A slam as they come out of it. Donghak just making their lives very difficult on that Wrecking Ball, and I think one of the bigger things is that one fight where someone gets demacked, even though it is Falcons who win it, he has to reset, get a new mech. And because you're playing the ball, you can flip it rather quickly.
Now, we talked about someone's flexibility a lot over the course of this game, just how we can kind of do it all. The asterisk on that is the Wrecking Ball. Now, there are a lot of South Korean tank players here who can play that role. Donghak, Junbin, Neilgaru. Someone doesn't really play ball. Not a lot, not at this level anyway. So that just might not be an avenue open to Falcons. We're going to go with the Cassidy Sim and D.Va once more, though.
Well, ball is, I mean, ball has become a little bit more mainstream as of late. There's a hinder there. I mean, Donghak not going to be able to roll out and live through that. But it's not a tank, I think, would be like a requirement for somebody to be able to play. It's a very nice
bit of a specialist role.
Yes, he's still a specialist.
Kind of how players like Infected put themselves on the map as well. There was a time back in Dallas where he was the only North American tank player that was willing to go there. And there's definitely spots for it. This map especially favorable for the Wrecking Ball, and it sort of stands to reason why T1 might have wanted to take us to Busan, which is uncommon.
It's Immortality Field out already, though.
There's stops not to try and knock anyone out of the Immortality Field map and try and just play around the fringes of it, but still find players looking at the venture once they emerge.
Yeah, maybe if he gets a kill on a proper there, or able to get back, he's working with Donghak, they're able to make something out of it there, but not able to finish off proper. It'll be the point in favor of Falcons here. See if Proud can maybe find some shots there from range here across. Yeah, Doom is an interesting one. We haven't seen much Doom here in the games that we casted, really just one time from Painkiller, so.
It's still a tank hero that can struggle with the hindrance of the casting flash, but obviously very effective at displacing the D.Va, making it hard for her to get what she needs to be. I do feel like this is a bit of a risk that Donghak is taking. And obviously the first fight for the Doom doesn't bode well for them, but that's Zest getting picked off, also the Donghak struggling individually.
Yeah, you're not going to go in if you're T1 and you don't have Zest. The combination with the Venture and the Doom, that's what you're looking to do here. Nice route here from T1. Trying to force down Falcons to the point.
TP's cleared at least. Bowler shot in the hands of Proud, but D.Va of course can mitigate that ultimate. Proud is now aware of the setup here on the left side of the map. There's an air matrix in play. Fielder staking his claim to this little area. TPing his team, trying to close it on Proud, but he's able to skitter away only just. Soundberry now for T1. It's time to go, they say. Same from Falcons. They reciprocate an overshield and the bowler shot thrown in the vicinity of the wall. The Sim ultimate really just muddles the mixture for T1 and they cannot connect with their win conditions. Falcons here have had a cruisy round.
Yeah, without the ball and the verticality of the last point, T1 has definitely struggled here mightily on our final point on Busan. T1 does end up holding on to their Amp Matrix, so you're really just looking at Vigilante and Proud getting the benefits of it. One of them's going to have to go big.
Proud has to do so much with these off angles. He'll always play away from where the Wrecking Ball or the Doom is in many of these cases. And it's on him to secure some of these final blows. A little bit of damage, it's all well and good. But he needs to do more than just follow up on his ball. Then I hear from Merit, no connection, free reload though, he'll take that. Proud bowled over on the point, isolating himself, but Donghak's able to get in there and Chio exposed to the Doomfist for a moment, allows for a pickoff. Orbital Strike comes in to dodge the self-destruct, and someone subject now to that tectonic shock. Zest right where he wants to be, on the point, loud and proud. T1 able to shove Falcons back and finally get some traction here, but it's still 2 DPS to worry about. An Air Matrix, that's a problem. Fielder guns Zest down as he stood proudly in front of the window. Now eyes over towards Donghak. He's still a problem, still disruptive, and he knocks Proper into the wall. Skewed's there for the finish off, and T1 at least get on the board.
Yeah, and I think Falcons saw potentially it was winnable because Proper is just ramping on that Sim throughout the entire time. They use the Amp Matrix, try and heal him back up. They get that Immortality Field in, and they have Chio coming off of respawn, but T1 does a nice job eventually getting Proper out of the fight. Look at this, Proper gonna go over to the Sombra here, so a rare Sombra play here from Proper. We'll see, this is gonna be really effective against Donghak.
The only way this is more hostile to the Doomfist is if you mix in a Brigitte. Eventually, Falcons have had to concede that they need to answer that threat of the Doom. Sim just a little too squishy, a little too immobile to risk playing up against that Doom. And there it is, someone has to play second fiddle. He's going to chase out the Donkag, who's hacked instantly, but the damage is done before Proper can have an impact. Zesta and Proud combine, and they claim the backline of Team Falcons, and T1 have decided to make this a proper game.
And dude, T1 gets quite fortunate there. They open up with the first 2 kills. Skewed sound barrier doesn't connect with Donghak while he's hacked, which is one of the worst case scenarios probably for them at the moment, but they still come up with those early first 2 kills, which ends up taking the fight. And now an opportunity here to steal his point.
Sound barrier for Chio, but Vigilante is going to have the window, and very quickly someone gets chucked down. In time, though, Chio responds with the sound barrier, and someone is still fighting fit for now. Bowler shot at the ready for Proud, but he holds off on it as Merit will clear the room with his Deadeye. No one to be seen. Zest has to drill rush away from that line of sight, the Cassidy, and keeps his life as a result. Proud still patient, methodical, 94% and counting here for T1, and on the flanks is where the fight is happening, and Merit comes to the rescue of Fielder. Geo falls, but there's an air matrix in play. Immortality Fielder has to be deployed for the Baptiste now, and Zest steps up. He's hacked, he's down, Proper deals with him with 35 points of health left. He's done enough yet again. Donghak has got nothing to do but to try and work the fringes, but it's too little, too late for T1. And the gauntlet is thrown early in the series. Falcons are here to play.
That one goes all the way down to the wire. And I gotta say, if Merit doesn't get that kill on the Proud, he probably kills Fielder in that type of one-on-one situation. And without the Baptiste at that point, what happens for Falcons is Merit comes up with a huge kill there, the biggest one of that first snap.
All across this map, Fielder's been a focal point for Falcons, and it shows. He salvages the round on Mecha Base just when T1 looked like they were about to get back into control. He goes for a short-handed amplification matrix and blows Proud up. Those two surely had a grudge to settle on multiple occasions over this map. With the presence of mind of Merit to turn around and peel as Cassidy for his teammate may have secured that map for Falcons.
It's also wild as we take a look at the coaches getting ready for map number 2. We've been around so long that we now see Sparkle and Fleta as the coaches for a team. Those two, the legendary players in their own right. This game is as close as can be. That is T1's first map loss here. We'll see where they decide to take us, right? This is the kill. Oh, just 2 shots there.
This game is
from Merit. I mean, that puts them away.
It's so rich in history, isn't it? Flash Flux versus Element Mystic, Soul Dynasty versus Dallas Fuel, now T1 versus Falcons. I mean, it is wild to me. T1, of course, are the upstart team out of South Korea. One that, until this point, wasn't able to put themselves in these conversations, to give themselves a spot at the table in these international tournaments. As soon as they secure it, they breeze through the groups. Incredible stuff. We're going to hear from, I said hello to him earlier actually in the hallway. Chris Chung is standing down on the stage for an interview with Zoe.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have Chris Chung with me, the head of APAC at Team Falcons. You are playing in front of a home crowd, quite the buff. They are loud, they are proud. What does that mean to you and the team to be able to do that and just being so close to manage to get to the grand finals, actually, not semifinals?
I mean, we talked about it all the way even through LCQ that we're so excited to play in front of our home fans. I mean, you can just tell they're so energetic. You know, this is like one of a lifetime experience for all our players, so it's been wonderful.
Yeah, you just mentioned it, the LCQ. That is something we did not expect Team Falcons to be in, but they really rallied, they really came back. How did you prepare for this event specifically after the LCQ?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, they believed in themselves. You know, they know that they're good enough. Obviously, we had some mishaps for stage 2, but, you know, they didn't let them stop them for, you know, obtaining what they wanted in LCQ. And, you know, we just kind of go from here on out.
Right on. Now, if we're looking at the other side of the stage, we call them the young blood, the next gen of Korean esports elite in Overwatch. Is that in the back of the mind of all these veterans from Team Falcons?
You know, they could probably think that way, but they also know that T1's very talented. I think they respect them, but they also know that, you know, our Falcon players are very experienced. They've been through pretty much in every situation. So, you know, I just told them just believe in yourself, and that's it.
Right. You make a good motivational coach right there. And I know you're not just in charge of these guys, you're covering all things Team Falcons in APAC. And we have so many different titles here at EWC as well. Club Championship on the line. And as of yet, Team Falcons still need to qualify for those. How much running around do you have to do to like check in on everyone?
Well, you know, it's a group effort. I mean, we have a lot of people in our leadership that kind of help each other out. You know, like you said, we don't have that gold medal yet. We're still hunting for that, and we're really hungry, and hopefully we can capitalize on that today.
Well, this team is so close to getting one step closer. Chris, thank you so much for joining us, and we are heading back to our castles, Mitch and Matt.
It takes a village to take a team from LCQ, the champions here at a Midseason Championship. So far, not so shabby for Team Falcons. First map secured. It's a competitive one. It's a frothy affair between both these teams as Donghak's Wrecking Ball causes some disruption, sows some discord. But as we got to Sanctuary, we realized that Falcons seem to have had their measure. Merit's Cassidy looks sublime, proper flexing a little bit, showing us the venture after coming off the sim. They had to deal with Wrecking Ball and then Doomfist. And like Chris Chung said, this Falcons team have been in basically every conceivable situation possible as far as an Overwatch competitor is concerned. These things come second nature to them, and they handle that T1 affront with aplomb.
What do you think of the Doom swap? I think obviously the point has something to do with it, right? But it felt like the ball, and look, maybe once they get rid of the sim, right, the ball is not as important. And then you're looking for more like with the power block, the survivability there of the Doom and just the crazy mobility of the Doomfist. But it seemed like it wasn't nearly as effective as the Wrecking Ball. It might just also be with a different comp from Falcons.
As far as I can tell, Donghak seemed to feel like the committal nature of Wrecking Ball was getting him picked off a little bit more often than he would like. Doomfist is still subject to that hindrance from Cassidy's flashbang, but you know, has a pretty easy way to get out. Like, has this mobility that doesn't force him to be all in. And Doomfist used to be like that. Obviously, back when, God, remember when he was a DPS hero. He obviously can get out of these situations and could also outpace the D.Va a lot of the time. Hanbin coming in here for Falcons for someone. Now, this is a substitution we have not seen here in Riyadh.
No, we've casted a few games from Falcons, and at all times, it has been someone. So here, a little bit of a curveball, bringing in Hanbin. So obviously, the map has something to do with it. We can see here on our screens, I saw a peek from one of the players as well. It'll be Circuit Royale, the selection here for T1. T1 also gets rid of D.Va here, so we saw someone pilot the D.Va, but Hanbin, a very good D.Va in his own right. And then Falcons has gotten rid of Ilari here, so don't want to play that double flex backline, don't want to give it as an option to T1.
In this part of his career, Hanbin has become much more of the pinch hitter, a specialist that comes in to really fill particular maps. In the past, he was not that, right?
That's wild to say.
He was the go-to. But, you know, in the early days on this Falcons team, he was alongside Smurf, the two of them sort of juggling duties.
Yeah.
You know, Hanbin, I think one of his most legendary moments was probably in 2023, like at the Junker Queen play that we saw in Toronto at those, you know, that sort of grand finals for the Overwatch League. In the past, we've seen him on more of those less mobile tanks, but his Winston back in the day was a thing to be feared. So when this guy comes in, you can kind of expect anything.
He's strapped up. He's got the arm sleeve. He's got wrist tape. I mean, he is ready to game you.
Listen, as the years come in, you know, you've got to do what you can to stay competitive, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
I'm waiting for it. Yeah, go on.
I wasn't.
Okay.
What? I wasn't going to say anything mean about you. I wasn't. I was just going to make a comment.
Yeah. Was it about me?
I mean, there's potential. We'll never know. We'll never know.
I touched it with the quick real good there. But yeah. This Falcons roster making the shuffles. They feel like they need to give them the edge. This is a good sign for them. T1 obviously coming into this matchup and getting to pick that first battleground. For Falcons to be able to take a win away there is massive. Now they only have to win on their map picks.
I mean, T1 we haven't seen pick a map all tournament, right? This is their first one. So
outside of being the top seed,
outside of being the top seed, but like in the a loser pick scenario, after Control, have not seen them. So. If you're Falcons, right, with Hanbin coming in, what is it that you would see him potentially play, right? We've seen someone play a lot of Ramatra for this team, right? We've seen someone play Arisa, yeah. Sigma, I don't think is like meta per se. I don't know if that's something that Falcons, maybe there's some type of comp they think they can fall back on.
I think the Mei is too threatening to Sigma on this map to really play it with any degree of confidence. And what we've noticed is once Mei is able to get that major perk that allows her to freeze the enemy target briefly, she is really, really punishing. Now, Ramatra, obviously, we've seen in a lot of those matchups because when he's perked up, so to speak, that Vortex becomes much more dangerous to step into. Just that slowing effect is extremely annoying and hard to counter. So both of those heroes aforementioned have that powerful crowd control. Slows in Overwatch are extremely oppressive in such a fast-moving game where heroes like Lucio are so often prioritized. So this will be something to keep an eye on. And I'll be honest with you, Matt, Proud has to play a lot of off-angle, on that Busan map. Really has to manufacture a lot of solo kills. And, we see him. He actually gets a first pick on Merit right at the start of Busan. But I feel like on that last round, he was not able to do enough as that Freya. He was not able to secure those kills. And even when he gets close, when he goes after Fielder, gets shut down midway through, it feels like that was the round over then and there.
And I think that's what's so difficult about going up against a team like Falcons. I mean, Merit and Proper, when was the last time you could say one of them, you've been like, they had a terrible game? It feels like they're just kind of always locked in. And then everybody else on the team, right, from the tanks to supports, are so consistent that you're going to need on your side the same level of consistency out of your tank and supports, but then your damage dealers hit another level and at minimum match the output of Merit and Proper.
Yep. A lot to ask for. That is a prerequisite. That's the entry fee to try and take on a team like Falcons. And that's what T1 have invested in. Let's see if they've got the goods for us on Circuit Royale, a map often picked by teams that favor that specialist approach. Want to get it out of the way early. Legend of your game on the screen there. Fleta presiding in the coach's post.
Hoping somebody is influenced by the Admiral Lifeweaver. Yesterday, that was just next level. If you guys missed that game, I mean, you got to go check out Admiral's play on the Lifeweaver. I mean,
yes. I don't know if that's quite a communicable disease as it would need to be to make its way to this game. Weaver has viability.
Yeah, Weaver fever is not spreading around, you would say.
Give it time. Yeah, pretty good. That Tree of Life obviously really hit the mark when it came down. We might still get to see some of that later on in the tournament. Regardless, Hanbin in for Team Falcons. T1 here with the Orisa composition. No Iliari on the board. Vigilante and skewed will be Lucio Baptiste-pilled for this map.
Bizess playing Sim. So we'll get a Sim comp here for T1. The reason they bring Hanbin in to play Hazard. That is one. Don't really see it. Ooh,
about this apple.
Yeah, I like this. But the Zarya doesn't really make much sense because the D.Va's gone, right? You wouldn't exactly play that. So maybe it is to play something, but more on the defensive side of things, right? And you're going to go with the Ram here on offense.
Yep. Ramatra seems like the most likely suspect here. But it's something that someone plays, so this might be map specific, something that Hanbin has been practicing with. Oh, okay.
All right.
We are going to have the Zarya regardless.
Yeah, so they're going to play Zarya into this.
Zarya Venture, importantly.
Yep, you're going to use these bubbles here to just charge up Hanbin. And Hanbin Zarya is filthy. Yeah, so if he can get charged up, we are in for a treat here. Putting it on the Proper right away. Proper getting out of the way.
And these Sim turrets can be used by T1 to get that free charge. Or rather by Falcons. There's nothing T1 can really do about that if they're set up, that little car wash. Hanbin is sitting at 80 charge here, which is right where you want to be, with 2 bubbles still available. He goes Proper. Hanbin looking to draw a bead on the position of his venture player. But then high ground could be an issue. Very charged up. Hanbin now just happy to trade damage with Donghack. It's really about his teammates finding the opening for him. And Proper has established control of that high ground point. Look at that dive over towards the rest of T1. This guy is ready to knock some heads together. He's found Proud. Nice pick off. Proper might be punished for this, but love that swift Suzu. That is dirty so from good. Fielder.
I mean, that is so sick there from Fielder. Like at the last second there, gets over to Proper and able to keep him alive. And so what they do there, right? Hanbin just kind of slowly working with Proper, gaining charge. Then once he's fully charged up, you just run down Donghak. Donghak can't stand there and trade with the Zarya, right? You just mow down his armor and then just move on in.
Here comes Proper once more. That dive into the backline can always be assisted by Fielder now. That's something T1 have to be keenly aware of. Sound barriers coming online for both sides. An all-in fight, virtually inevitable at this point. As Donghak, he's too low for this. Oh, that's not ideal at all. Skew didn't have sound barrier in time. There might have been a miscommunication, but T1 jumped the gun. And Donghak sent off to the glue factory as a result.
Well, they try and push in, and Hanbin, not on with him, but you could see the beam. I mean, he was so charged up, and the armor of the Orisa just evaporates, and you see what happens there. He just gets blown up into the skybox. So you actually see Fielder turning around. They know Proud is down here, so they know they have an advantage on the front of the fight.
All right, Proud still not involved in the action just yet, but Merit now realizing there's someone behind them. Bowler shot thrown in from long range, disrupted, but doesn't find a kill. It's Merit with a headshot on Proud. That's a big one. Proper pushing into the backline, and there's nothing Vigilante can do. Tectonic Shock will account for the backline. And folks, this ain't even close so far.
No, this is a stomp. Falcons will take that second checkpoint. They'll push on up. We'll see Donghak now switch over to Ram. So this might be a little bit harder for Zarya to play into, right? You have that shield that you can just kind of play behind as that Ramatra. The Nemesis form a little bit nicer in terms of just trading that upfront damage with the Zarya. Proper, we're going to change over to Tracer here. That's the only adjustment for Falcons at the moment.
Hanbin may switch after this Graviton Surge is deployed. There's no Life Weaver pedal to save T1 from that dire ultimate. Your eyes peeled for that one. Grav came out at some point. Good catch, actually. And Immortality Field's not going to be enough to protect T1. Turns out that Zarya ultimate's still just as good as it was 6 years ago. And Hanbin converts beautifully on that ultimate. Donghak belatedly dragged down, and once again, Proud
has been here the entire game. I mean, he ends up dying and then somehow ends up behind.
What are we doing here?
Again. All right, so he trades with Merit. So I guess he'll have a spawn advantage here. Looks like Chio going back. He'll escort Merit back into the fight once he is off, but the payload moving closer towards the end with a lot of time here for Falcons.
Bob having switched later, you'll notice there's a mild perk disadvantage here, but still going to do all the things that Tracer does well. Fielder caught there, likely perhaps a swift step, just an overextension. He was looking for something. Very much alone.
Yeah, nobody to swift step back to, right? So he gets up, taken out there. The Hanbin, obviously he moves back there, but no, they had an opportunity like, okay, go back to the spawn and swap. They don't take it. As Falcons rotate here, they're going to try and take this high ground and let Proper pressure the cars.
Okay, Tech Shock combined with his air matrix here, but Zest doesn't like what he sees. It's the sound barrier from Falcons. They're willing to throw down. They call the bluff of T1 and establish control of this high ground. Now Zest is going to be caught on the stairwell and he's going to have to give this up as well. But Falcons have done all the bluff they can. They've got this balcony. They know Venture's about to emerge in their midst, but Proud is down by Merit, and that's not a good sign for T1. They can't keep your eyes on it. No one pushing it right now because Donghak's contesting, but it's getting awfully close to the goal. A Kitsune rush on the high ground now, and eventually Donghak is brought to his knees. Merit ain't going anywhere, folks. He is going to sit up here, proud as a peacock. And T1 have got nothing to say here on Circuit Royal.
Just an absolute drubbing there by Falcons. I really love what they did. So they're working around that outside towards that high ground towards the end. You just have Proper on the Tracer, threatening the cart push, right? So Donghak can't leave, can't kind of roll back to the staircase, can't leave the Tracer there unattended. And it allows them to just bully the members of T1 off that high ground. And then, I mean, it's a shooting gallery for Merit at that point.
This grab here, of course, Immortality Field, a pretty good answer to it. But Harmon knows exactly how to work around it.
I don't think you play this on defense, though, right?
Unlikely. You really want to try and get value out of your Zarya bubbles, and when you're defending, attackers can disengage or deny you that value just a little easier. Won't be a hog out the gates for Donghak, but we can only hope. Been over to something a bit more standard here. A hero very much still, though, within his wheelhouse is the Ramatra.
Widow Sojourn here for Falcons. So we don't see a lot of teams play like the double kind of hit scan per se anymore. Some teams we see will play like the Hanzo on this map at times.
Like the Sojourn Freya we've seen mixed in a little bit.
We've seen Falcons run that, the Soj with a Freya, but
it's never really hit the mark for me.
No, I've never seen it where we're like, oh, that looks great. But see, for T1, see if they decide to match this Widow, or we're just getting a shot here off the rip as Gio will take a body shot. Proud will go back. It'll be Freya here for Proud. So see how he deals with this Merit Widow on the other side.
First and foremost, you've got to take that high ground. Force Hanbin off there. All of T1 just shove forward. Expect those bolts coming in over the top of the buildings. Now where, of course, the Proud is still on the Freya. For a decent sightline is the Widow. Oh, yes, he's lucky to be alive. He crossed, and it was a nice shot from Merit that almost cleaned up the Venture. But now Merit has to give up some of this ground and play towards the coast.
This is pretty hard to play the Venture into, right? Like playing Venture into this, where Venture wants to just access backlines and, a little bit more static targets with the Sojourn and the Widow can create so much distance.
Straight past Hanbin, goes Zest. Hoping to emerge in the middle of the backline here, and everybody ready for it, everyone attending, and that was a great Suzu again from Fielder. Proper kept alive, but not for long. It's Proud doubling down on that fight, and Merit has plenty of targets to shoot up, but the crosshairs aren't quite lining up where they need to. Thankfully, he's got a whole team behind him, and Chio starts going wild. Proud's found his second elimination there of this fight, and Fielder realizes he's bit off more than he could chew with Skewed, who will push the cart further forward before backing off.
As Proper will change now and play Venture himself, so the Proper Venture has been nuts throughout this tournament. It's been one of the best looks we've seen. Is Hanbin getting dangerously low. Looks like he has a hot Nemesis for him just to back up.
Yeah, nobody wants to be using that for. Would love to try and push past Donghack with this. A lot of poke being taken, but Donghack has the Javelin spin. He too, though, has used an important cooldown before the fight's really begun. This is going to slow things down for T1, especially the sound barrier. That's just a warning sign from Team Falcons, and they're going to try and follow up on it. Skewed picked up by Hanbin, but he went deep. Donghack finding Proper might not be enough, though, to stop Falcons. Hanbin looking pretty safe, and Proud has been kept out of most of this fight.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Falcons, like, you haven't really gotten much from Merit on the Widow, right? Yeah. Like, we haven't really seen him get many picks, like putting down some damage, right? Where you would think in a scenario like this, T1 could get it moving. Is a headshot there, not enough to finish the player off, but it's just a matter of time, it feels like, before Merit starts picking off heads.
Does buy some time for Falcons. This is slow going by any metric for T1. They're trying to put together maybe like a fast speed forward play with a Terror Surge. And Matrix to follow up on it. Here we go. Proud able to pick off Popper first. That's something he's struggling to do on Busan. And it's a big part of the win condition. Mitchie wants to surge forward. And Falcons have been able to disengage, but they don't have much rope, man. The card is very close to the checkpoint. Zest looking over his right shoulder. Knows Merit's going to be peeking, trying to find the kill, and out of nowhere, Donghack hits him with the RKO. Merit, not a thing you could say about it.
But you lose Donghack, and then it's going to have Hanbin inside of the Kitsune rush with that Annihilation just playing that corner. I don't think you're going to be able to push this.
Yeah, these ults are being staggered out. It's a sound barrier that hastily has to be committed by T1, and the Annihilation comes in. Big damage though, great burst on Hanbin, fielded with yet another Suzu, keeps him alive. He can't keep getting away with it, Matt. That is just unreal. Hanbin unkillable.
I mean, that's horrible there for T1. I mean, you end up using your sound barrier there to try and push on through, but without Donghack, there's nobody who's going to be able to stand there on the cart, and then you have Proper coming off of respawn. You might have just burned your best chance if you're T1, because she is going to have this speed here.
Proud needs to make a play early. He was able to pick off Proper in the previous fight, and still T1 couldn't capitalize, so now he's being asked to do even more for this team. Go time for T1. They have to make the play here and now. Sound barrier from Falcons. They're going to get aggressive behind it. The Immortality field was only up for a second before Proper skewers Vigilante. Merit, though, is the cost. Zest's able to get in the back line and deal with Chiu, and Hanbin slaps Zest silly, and now he's going to fight Donghack. He has the backup, though, of Fielder. But Donghack, all alone up against his upperclassmen, has to find a way to establish some control, and he will simply melt down. There's not a damn thing to do about it. Vortex in celebration, and Falcons string them together back to back. Hanbin, the super sub, comes in and lights them up.
Sparkle giving Hanbin all types of love as he comes in, plays tremendous. Some Zarya there on offense. And T1, man, had some opportunities here. on their own offense. Dude, Fielder, though, is just so nasty with it. I mean, this back line is just filthy. The amount of times we see somebody low on Falcons and Fielder just shows up out of nowhere, Suzu ready to go, keeps them alive, turns fights. Now T1's back is against the wall.
It was the 2023 world champion subbed out for a 2022 champion. Embarrassment of riches in the reserve for Team Falcons, and they make use of its full measure to claim a consecutive map against this T1 squad. Can they bounce back these youngsters, these upstarts from South Korea, or will the old guard remain on the throne? We'll find out after this.